never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big.
Hey, what's up? It's Honix back at it again to bring you the sickest clips from ECAC. But listen guys, here's the thing. Overwatch 2 still isn't out, and it's been so long that I understand what's happening in the Valorant clips now. I don't know how I could have let this happen. Anyways, let's check out the action from week 2 of ECAC. First up, we've got Nico Baka, who's got a need for speed.
But they have to be careful here. That kick not quite in their favor. Patrick has to be quick to him, and Nico Baka, he's just soaring through his sky with way too much pace.
Yeah, you knew this was coming. When this one lingered up in the air for a bit too long from J-Neil's touch, Patrick tried to go up for this one, but Nico, like we said, he's been the fastest player in this lobby the entire...
Just a friendly reminder that fireworks always add pizzazz to your points.
Of this series.
Good read there by Chalk, because if he didn't place down that block, that would have been a really early stock lead that he would have gotten. And wow, that nade.
Absolutely sniped out of midair. What
Everyone is in flux when Mount St. Mary's is on the point.
To save that piece, and that is the bulk of your healing if you're Emery and Henry. Now you're coming in with both DPS ults and the Shatter, but again, a massive Gravitic Flux comes out from Mount St. Mary's, stops it in their tracks.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 8th and final week of the ECAC Division A. I am Horizon Cast, this is Soph-chan, and as always we are so happy to bring you this game. We're going to be getting into picks and bans really quickly. Soph, new patch, new game, a whole lot of different expectations that we're going to be able to have for this game. What are some of your thoughts?
Oh, I have to say, I think the thing we must be most excited about is the changes in the jungle. We have those pets now. It's going to be so exciting. We have the little beans. I've seen Zach's playing, I think it was with the green pet, and it's just so lovely to see them jumping around with the champion. Is amazing. Well, we're already going in blue side, Oakland University versus Long Island University, and the bans are almost finished for this first phase.
Yep. That Hecarim ban is actually not a Hecarim ban. We'll have to actually see what that one is here at the end. Obviously not going to matter right now because we do have the Graves getting locked in. So while we're seeing these champions come in, I want to talk about some of those jungle changes we talked about. Yes, the pets. They are a lot of fun. I've had a chance to play with them myself. They are very helpful, but I'm sorry. So it was a Graves ban, and the Hecarim ban is Graves. So it's the opposite. So the Hecarim has been locked in there, and the Graves has been banned. So that's a Hecarim, no worries. And then obviously the Trundle going to get answered there. But one of the other changes I want to talk about, some of the junglers have been complaining about, is the leash ranges and how that's been messing up with tempo. So, if I kind of want to ask you, obviously the game has just changed a lot off of this patch. So what are some things that you're looking forward to seeing, especially now that things are quite a bit more durable?
Yes, I think that in regards to the jungle, we're not going to see that much invading. At least if we do see invading, it's going to be much easier for the enemy or the one being invaded to calculate when the jungle is going to respawn again, because you're not going to have that one little minion that left to be just bothering your whole clear. So I think that's one of the things that are probably going to force junglers to, instead of invade, maybe just countering more, just ganking more, be more present in the lanes to convert the gold for the rest of the team members. So I think maybe that could be a route.
Yeah. One of the things I like too, with given the jungle changes, is how fast the clears are now, especially the Krug camps, which has been the biggest complaint for years, is that, oh, the Krugs, they take so long to do. Well, now junglers are getting actually out of their full clears from top to bottom side so quickly that they're up before even the scuttles have spawned. So I like that change. I like the fact that we're probably going to see quite a bit more in team fighting, see these junglers getting involved more, which theoretically would make the game a little bit more bloody, which obviously is so much more fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely, Horizon. And on top of that, like speaking speaking of the Krugs, speaking of the Scutter Crabs, they're going to be spawning a little after, right? It's going to be 15 seconds after what we used to have before this patch. So that exactly what you said. We're going to have more bloody encounters between those two junglers, because if they didn't have time to find themselves in this crossroad in the river, maybe now with the 15 seconds more, they're going to have more of that level. If they are a champion that don't clear the jungle as efficiently as other possibilities of champions, they're going to be able to do so and have a most likely opportunity to steal and maybe even get a 1v1 kill and pressure on the other lanes because of the Scutter Crab vision.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to see what those changes will bring. Obviously, as we're seeing the comps come through. So right now it is a Hecarim, a Lucian, and a Nami for Oakland, while it is a Trundle, a Ryze, and an Amumu. So that Amumu obviously going to be going down to the bot side with Samira. Interesting 2v2 duo, but obviously Lucian, Nami needs no introduction. A really, really strong 2v2 lane. So kind of want to pick your brain. How is this lane going to go early for both these teams? Because obviously Samira has been buffed over the last couple patches, and she's a bit stronger now than she has been over the last year or so.
I think it will be kind of a skill diff scenario, because both supports that are supposed to be doing the engage part, you're going to have to learn the bandages, you're going to have to learn the bubbles, and it was going to highly rely on that to be able to go in. But the sole difference there between these two lanes is going to be the range that Lucian is going to have more than Samira does, and the possibility that Nami has in regards to range on top of Amumu as well. So you're going to see her using the E to slow them down from a bigger distance than Long Island can do in the bot lane. So that's going to enable more things to happen, especially slowing them down before Hecarim joins in a gank in the bot lane. So I think Oakland might be looking a little better here in the beginning, especially with the Hecarim alongside them. And, well, Trundle, he can run you down. He can put that pillar there. He can try to disrupt your way back to the tower. But I don't think it's as effective in the early game as Oakland can be.
Yeah. And speaking of that early game too, I like some of these pickups here that Oakland have paired with it. Obviously, Graves is going to help them transition throughout the entirety of the fight. They picked up the Wizard Lizard, which is one of my favorite things to see now that Rod of Aegis is back. So Mages rejoicing everywhere that this item has returned. We are so happy. I'm a filthy Malzahar player, so obviously I'm so happy that item has returned. But obviously on the other side, it is going to be matched by that Ryze that does have the semi-global. So something I think we can kind of focus on there from Long Island too is the kind of team fighting that they have. They can respond into these lanes. I really also like the set pickup there for Lonely After Snow. He's going to be able to pilot this in these long team fights, and obviously set is notoriously difficult to lock down. So now that we've seen kind of both these comps, so if I want to pick your mind on how you think these two comps are going to play, so I'll let you pick the one you want, then I'll take the other one.
Okay, all right. Gosh, I really like both of them though. How could I choose? Let's do with the. Okay, I'm gonna leave you the lizard since you were so excited about this Ethiopia. I'm gonna leave you the lizard. All right. So let's get to this other side of the map, the red side. We have, as you said, the great repositioning that Ryze can afford with the ultimate. There, you have the engage from Amumu. Now, of course, with 2 bandages and the ulti, you're gonna be able to lock people down for so much longer. You have the Samira alongside you, so you can get her a little closer to your enemies because you're going to keep them in place for so long. The set as well, I think it combos really well because people are going to be in a fairly short area because they want to get close to Samira to get her down, unless you are the Cassiopeia. The other players are going to try to get close to you, the Hecarim, the Aatrox. So I think Long Island has a great mid to late game comp, and I think that mid stage with Trundle, with Ryze, with Set, I think it works super well to get Samira in a lovely space for her to just 1v5 everyone.
Yeah, I think if you're on the opposite side of this, because I'll take the Oakland side of this, I think there's a lot of early game potential for this team comp when you're looking at how dangerous the Graves can be through the early stages, especially because he does have a pretty fast clear, so he can get onto these side lanes pretty quickly. He can affect some of the team fights pretty easily as well. He's a great team fighting champion. But I think to highlight on one of the things that you brought up, absolutely, the late game scaling from Long Island is super dangerous. You do have a Ryze, a Trundle, a Samira. These champions love late game team fightings. They love getting out there. So for me, for Oakland, it's going to be a lot about making sure that they set up some of their solo lanes to be effective towards that late game. Obviously, Aatrox is not a tank, so he's going to be shredded pretty quickly by a Trundle. The big thing for me is this Hecarim. Sorry, actually, it was flipped because it was the Hecarim and the Graves band. I got it mixed up. Hecarim is still the same thing in terms of some of the early game ganking that he does have, because he's quite mobile, so he's able to run around the map. And I think it lends itself to do some decent ganking patterns there. My one concern for this team here from the side of Oakland, what they have drafted here is Cass is a highly mobile champion. She's a wizard lizard, so she doesn't get to build boots. She has to kind of sit there and take it. So if you are Long Island, you can really get out into this mid lane. You can affect this champion. And Cass, if she is set behind, does take a long time to sort of get back in the game.
Yes, absolutely. And you're not only having a Cassiopeia that's going to take a while to get into the game, you have the counter on Rise that is also a champion that does the Rod of Ages build. In regards to those two, Rise is going to be so much better in the early game. As soon as he gets level 6, he's going to outplay her on every other lane. She's not going to be able to help much. She's going to try to just get there, but it's gonna be very
This
slow.
is Rise ult. He's like, peace, bro. I'm out of here. I'm not interested in this lane anymore. Peace.
Exactly. And on top of that, like, Rise can deal with the clear so well against the Cassiopeia, because if she wants to push, he's gonna counter push. Rise is gonna try to level up that lane so it doesn't shove into the tower. They're probably gonna run TP, most likely. You want to have the double of mobility on this champion. And I would also do the rune with the move speed. It works so well with Rise. So he's gonna outplay her, especially in this beginning of the game. So if WZAC doesn't go for Cassiopeia in the beginning and try to help knock Endless Salvation down from the start, it might get a little too slow for Hyphina to try and come back into the game, as you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the other things that I think, obviously hitting on too is where this Hecarim is going to go. Can this Hecarim come into the mid lane? Can he protect the Cassiopeia, make sure that Hyphina has the time to scale? Because, Cass is one of these champions that if she does get early kills, she can become quite a nuisance in some of the side lanes, especially if she's given the opportunity to roam, which is much more difficult because she doesn't have something like a Rizal to just magically appear in a bot lane with the jungler. So obviously seeing how that individual matchup goes. But again, I think for my money, you just have to favor the Trundle in a lot of these different trades, especially with the Hecarim. Now, granted, he does have access to the backline, but it's like, what are you trying to get backline access to? You're running straight into a Samira and a Mumu and potentially a Trundle there as well. Set's going to grab you. So I think execution-wise, it's going to be a lot harder for Oakland to perform than it is for Long Island.
Highly agreed, Horizon. As you said, the comp on the side of Long Island, it just feels so well rounded. And if we think about Oakland, it's gonna be hard to get to the carries. When you do try to get there, you're gonna be just thrown from one side to the other. Trundle's gonna steal your stats, and you're gonna go in basically naked with nothing to defend yourself, no armor, no MR there. And it's gonna rely hardly on good waves from below, good ultis from Hyphina as well, to try to make people stop for just a brief moment, so that finally Aatrox and Hecarim can go in, and maybe Chizzy Chaz can get the final blows on everyone. But I totally agree with you there.
Well, and the point actually that you just brought up too, talking about making sure that you get people to stop, Samira has that built-in tool to just deny some of that CC if you can time that shield right, which is, granted, really hard to do because you never quite know when she's going to go for the Petrifying Gaze. But if Cool Kid, if he can actually time that ability right, then you completely negate everything this cast wants to do, and then you can just run right through him. And Samira is notorious for being really, really hard to kill. It's like, oh, she's got a quarter of health, and then she's like back to full half health bar, and you're like, when did that happen? It's because of her lifesteal. So, itemization is going to be big, and just making sure that they focus Cool Kid Pete on that Samira is going to be big for Oakland.
Yes, and not only that, Samira's got the deny on the abilities, right? She just rolls around, and that's gonna be a denied Stone Age there from Hyphina. It's gonna be a denied wave from below. So it's definitely, as we said, heavily reliant on the chain of CC, on the carries, Cool Kid Pete, Endless Salvation, to try to take them down before the well, the rest of the team can do something, because they have protection, they have a good front line, they have ways of engaging and peeling. So Oakland, as I mentioned in regards to these two comps, it feels like Oakland requires more skill. So that's why I mentioned maybe a skill diff there. It's going to require more skill to land the CCs and understand when you can go in and actually take down Samira, or when she's actually going to heal everything up once again and just leave you to the dirt.
Yeah. Well, we will have to see exactly how these two team comps are going to play. I think we've laid it out as best we can, so we'll be up the teams to determine. We are going to take a very short break, and then we will be right back. So don't go anywhere, because game one is coming right up.
Say that. I'll get in trouble. There's one for each game, so teams this weekend, somebody's going to have to explain to TSA why they're coming home with an extra trophy. Fine. We're fine. This is going to be great. Why is everybody staring at me? I'm not even doing anything yet. Is it because I'm in a suit? It looks nice. It's new. I'm stressing. It's all right. We win these. We absolutely win these. I've never seen us lose these. I love him. I don't remember his name. What is going on, everybody? And oh, we're ready? I'll start over. Okay. What's going on, everybody? We are here at the Collegiate Esport Commissioners Cup 2022 in Atlanta, Georgia. The players are just now entering the arena for day one. A lot of them had the opportunity to be here yesterday to get jerseys, to get familiar with the area, and to get to know one another. But today, the friendly gloves have to come off, and they are all here. Earlier, I was talking to these guys. This mannequin, when they didn't have anything else set up, I could see it from all the way down there, and I thought it was a person. And I stood there for like 5 minutes, and I was like, why is he standing like that? And I thought it was like a smooth criminal. I thought somebody was giving us like a Michael Jackson impression, and then it was a mannequin. I was really embarrassed to admit that. Oh my God, that's a lot of people. Hold on, let's go over this window. It just keeps going. There's so many people outside. There are so many people outside. We're gonna interview people when they come in. I don't really want to go outside. It looks like it's gonna rain, and this suit is new, so. Oh, there's Doc Haskell. Hi, Doc. How are you? He brings a full notebook with him and like writes notes down. It was pretty insane. He had it yesterday. He's gonna be coming through this metal detector right here. I don't know his name though, but I recognize his hair.
Jen.
You're Jen? All right, we're gonna interview Jen, who's supporting Kennesaw. I'm gonna ask you like a couple of very simple questions. Okay. Are we ready? All right, great. College. I really like Georgia College's color scheme. It's just red, white, and blue, I think, but I think they did it in a really clever way. Mineral area, wearing hoodies, even though it is 75 degrees outside here in Atlanta, Georgia. Absolute legends.
If only Nick could hear you. Nick, come back.
If he's over 100 feet away, he can't.
You were whispering something, and he started smiling. I'm like, are you whispering?
Oh yeah, because he's got his headphone in if we're close enough. But
Bless you.
Gesundheit. Gesundheit again. You're welcome. I'm gonna go find him. Oh, there he is. Oh my. Oh, okay. Real stuff is starting. Real stuff. Competitive integrity needs to be upheld. We gotta get out of here. Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. I get really embarrassed when I get yelled at.
30 is
Okay. Wow, it's not 10:30 yet.
It's only barely 10.
Woo! All right, it's gonna be a long. Hey, what's up? Surprise interview. Join me over here. We have a cool backdrop. What are we here for?
Rocket League.
Awesome. I'm not going to ask what school you go to, because unless you swapped hoodies, that seems pretty clear.
Nope. You know, I got my jersey on with my name on it.
Oh, you do? Show us your jersey. Look at John T. Turbo here.
Yeah,
That's not his name. I just keep calling him that.
Yeah.
His name is John, but
My name is John Turbesi.
Yeah,
That's
not John T. Turbo.
Yeah, I get the message that I'm going to Nebraska where I met you.
Oh, that's so crazy. So context, if we're probably never going to use this, but I want to talk about it. Turbo and I met at a LAN like over a year ago. That's so crazy. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Collegiate Esports Commissioners Cup. I am Seb Dillons, joined by a man I have interviewed probably well over 10 times. It's going to be my good friend Neb, here from Bay State Overwatch team. Neb looked at me before he started his last series, and he said, "We are not dropping a map for the rest of the day." And so far, he has lived up to that title. But Neb, is there anybody you're thinking, we've got to get them out of the way, we've got to take them down?
No.
No? Just looking at it, each fight's its own, every game, going into it, just taking it as it comes?
I have the confidence right now that we're not going to drop a single map.
I love Neb because not only is he confident, but he's correct. Bay State is one of the best Overwatch teams I've ever seen. So it's always good to hear. I love the confidence, and I love Bay State, so I hope they do a great job this weekend. So what qualifier, did you win a qualifier to get here?
At-large bid.
We're looking at Rocket League, we're thinking high odds, low odds, where do we think we're walking away?
I think pretty high. I think we're doing pretty good.
Is there anybody that you're looking at, you're like, please do not let us go up against them unless we absolutely have?
And welcome back, everybody. We are on to the Riv for Game 1. I'm still Horizon Cast. This is still Soph, and we are still ready to bring you this first game. I think we did everything we can to highlight what these two teams need to do at the beginning. So, Soph, early predictions. Let's hear them. Any early game shenanigans you think from either of these junglers?
Well, looking at their positioning right now, they might just encounter each other here in the river bottom side. They look very careful overall, Horizon. I don't think that they're looking for any skirmishes, especially since they
Dang
didn't
it.
go for especially since they didn't go for a 5-stack and a sneaky bush or anything. So yeah, they just look to be, I don't know, greeting each other from this dancing, yeah, taunting. That's just what it is.
Yeah. So something else I want to talk about. Obviously, we've highlighted
That-
pretty much everything we can. Is you love to see it. You love
Yes.
to see it. The disrespect and the respect, depending on how you look at it, being shown.
Exactly.
One of the things I want to highlight, because we talked about a lot about the champions, we talked about the teams, and we talked about the composition. So let's talk about standings. So Long Island, they're sitting at 5-2. This is the final week of the ECAC. Oakland 4-3. Obviously, very, very close in the standings. Oakland would very much like to, I think, knock Long Island down to a third loss and potentially tie the standings. So let's just talk about experience and casting, because obviously we see teams getting these positions all the time in competitive environments. So what does it really mean for these teams to try and get the standings tied up as much as they can going into a playoff situation?
Well, basically, Horizon, the idea is that you're going to have a better seeding for the playoffs, and usually the playoffs are going to be the best in the seed versus the worst in the seed, and then so on between probably the 8 teams if we're talking about a quarterfinal situation. So the idea is that you get yourself a guaranteed easier first matchup for the quarterfinals, and usually, as most playoffs go, it's going to be a single elimination. So if you get an easier match, easier best of 3, you're going to guarantee that you might most likely go for semifinals, and advancing as closer as you get to the finals is the ideal scenario. So everyone wants to get their hands on the prizes. So that's basically what we're looking at. It's Oakland trying to get that win away from Long Island so they can be a little more in a better position for this playoff.
Yeah, and I like some of the adjustments that they're already making in this game to try and make sure that they get out to a good start. As they moved Hive NA up there with the cast into that set matchup, I like that. So you're putting ranged into melee. You're trying to bully that matchup as much as you can and mitigate some of that threat. Again, we talked about the Rise just going to be much more useful in the late game than the cast, in all honesty. So putting the Aatrox into the Rise, where he's not going to be too much threatened by Rise in the early game, because Rise doesn't have any way to just kill Aatrox in the early. So I like that adjustment. I'm curious to see now with that change, especially in the lane matchup, where the junglers are going to try and focus now that they do have the swamp in the expected champion matchups.
Yes, talking about the jungle, as you mentioned, we discussed earlier before the game started how this change in the Scuttle Crab spawn, look at that, it would have already spawned, but now the players are arriving here. Oh, maybe it's going to be a 2v1.
That's going to be Ghost popped, and all wise. He wants to try and get down top of Flawlessly. He's slowly ticking. Flash is going to come out, though, but he's not going to be able to run away. First Blood's going to go to Cheese Chad. Lucian, yeah, that's not what you want if you're Long Island. First Blood going to go over to him.
Oakland not only guaranteeing that the ADC gets the kill, but also a 3 assists, right? So we have a pause going on here. Don't worry about that. We're gonna have it back soon enough. But that is lovely. It's 4 people that participated in that kill in the first blood for Oakland University. So that is as much as you could expect, because top lane is always going to be on top lane, am I right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's unfortunately the teleport change means that's, Riot just making sure the top laners can't get any of that sweet assist gold.
Yeah.
You hate to see it, but absolutely. I mean, that's best case scenario for OU. Obviously, we talked about some of the difficulties that they're going to have in this early game in the late game with this composition. So you want to snowball leads wherever you can, and that's a great adaptation. Again, you highlighted exactly the Scuttle Crab being the 15-second delay means that it's going to encourage early fighting, and that's exactly what we saw. Quick Slice and WZEC were able to get in. They were able to punish the Trundle. Lucian got the kill. He's got buffs now. He's got first blood gold. I mean, he is just sitting on top of the world.
Yes, he is. And not only that, he's still got a biscuit, still got a potion. So this Lucian is going to stay in lane as much as they can. They're going to spam abilities. They're not going to run out of mana.
Yeah, he's gonna feel good. And he's got first strike. He's gotten first strike. He is swimming in gold.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my god.
So, I mean, he's gonna be feeling pretty good. So now that he's got that first blood gold, and again, that early kill going over the way of OU, they're gonna be feeling pretty nice after that exchange. They didn't have to use a whole lot to get it either, just the ghost committed there from W6. So where does this put Long Island in this early game? Obviously, they have the late game scaling, but they definitely don't want to be giving anything up. So what do they do to try and even this out? Do they try and just, keep things slow, or do they try and look somewhere on the map to respond in kind?
I think you would try to go for another side of the map, especially because you were there in the Bottom River, and there must be thousands of wards. You're not going to be able to go around and not be noticed. We are dealing with some technical difficulties, but don't worry, we're just going to keep on talking, giving you some League of Legends insight, and we're going to be soon back into the fight. But exactly as you were saying, I believe that Trundle should be going for maybe a pressure on invading top lane, the top jungle, getting. I don't know if we got the Scuttle Crab there. I think, yeah, we didn't because it had just spawned. So
Had just spawned.
yeah, they would go for the Scuttle Crab in the top lane, maybe try to hit to help there, get the pressure. Maybe if it's just summon a spell that's going to be wasted, or just pressuring to deny some farm. I think that's all going to be very, very good. And then you can go and try to rotate for the mid lane and help there as well, because while you still have those wards in the bot lane river, you're gonna be in a tough spot. So you have to pressure the other side as you suggested. And I totally agree. And then you can try to rotate, get that farm for yourself, get the clears in your own jungle, and then come for a possible engage before a Drake spawns so you can get pressure in that side.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And let's actually take this a step further, because we talked about the advantage really only being in the first couple levels in that bot lane. So obviously Samira and Amumu is going to be able to kind of get on top of the Lucian and the Nami slowly as things kind of develop. So having that early gold is going to extend the capability of that Lucian, so where he's going to be able to get that early item. And now his poke is even more lethal, because guess what? He's got 400 gold plus first strike gold sitting in his pocket. So it makes it all the much more harder for you to deal with that. And so obviously playing towards bot side is harder, because now even if you do gank the Trundle, the Lucian might just have enough damage to kill you.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, they might. And not only that, we saw how much they have of sustain, not only with the potions, the biscuits. He's got a Nami, and the Nami is going to be able to keep you in lane for as long as possible. And if you just keep on dealing damage, as we mentioned earlier, they have the range advantage on the Yamumu. Also on Samira, even though she's a regular ADC, she has a very short range, just like a Vayne would have. So you have to take those things into consideration if you are Long Island, because you have to be safe. You have to recognize where you need to go into secure a farm and still get some poke, but getting the farm, or not going for the poke, having the farm be deleted in that little moment. But it's kind of a mind game, because as you said, this Lucian is on top of the world. They're singing to Argos, right? They're basically owning the stars, and you have to be careful, because Lucian, yes, exactly. He's a Lucian. He's strong early game. He's a Lucian with an army. He's super strong early game.
Yeah.
So with all of that, you can do anything.
Yeah. So I have a brief point that I want to make, and this is a little bit of a train of thought, so you have to stick with me on this one. But
of course,
one of the things that the changes that has come out from Riot is obviously the sort of anti-invading that has now gone on, because jungle camps count for less if you invade. If they're not on your side, it's also much harder to take them. So that means that Hecarim, who was normally super vulnerable in the level 1, level 2, if you can gank him, if you can steal a first buff, you really set this champion behind. Obviously, that didn't happen. Then we see what happens in the bot lane, where Trundle gets punished, Lucian gets the kill. So now Lucian is effectively going to be safe in this 2v2 matchup, even if the jungler never comes down there again. So we talked about potentially going to the other side of the map if you're Long Island to try and make something happen. But now Hecarim's going to be there, because he doesn't have to go bot lane anymore, because guess what? The bot lane is set up. You've got Lucian Nami. They're going to be self-sufficient. He's got the gold. So now for Long Island, what do you do knowing, in terms of this game, knowing that the Hecarim is going to be there, likely going to be able to answer anything you're going to try and make, any play you're going to try and make in order to sort of find a different avenue to win in the game?
I think the most important thing, Horizon, is going to be communication with your teammates. If you're going for the top lane, of course, you're going to be closer to mid lane as well. You have to communicate with them, and you have to make sure that all three of you have good ward placements in the map, because you need to spot the Hecarim. Not only does he have the advantage in regards to the level, because he got the assist on you, he had more time to farm, and he clears faster than what you can do at this stage. And he runs fast. You really have to put very good wards to spot him before you can try and go do anything, because as soon as you spot him on another side, you can try to be very swift about it. You can try to capitalize on the top lane. But if you don't have vision or Hecarim, you're always going to be behind, because as soon as you blink, he's probably going to be there. Because when you think you've just arrived in the lane, Hecarim's like, oh, I've already saw you, and I'm going in. I'm coming in, and I'm coming really fast. So I think it's going to rely on that. It's going to rely on vision.
I
and
am
communication with your
exactly 4
teammates.
parallel universes ahead of you.
Right, exactly. Especially with the Lucian, like the Hecarim is going to be like 4 universes ahead of you, breaking the 4th wall, and Lucian is literally the one that's running the show.
Yeah, exactly. One, I think the other thing too, you talked about making sure that they have vision. It's going to be even more important if you're trying to take away an objective, because normally we see that dragon for Elder trade, one side or the other usually takes it. So if you get bot lane pressure, then you get drag, and then the other guy's like, okay, well, I'll go take Herald. But for now, for Trundle, it's going to be this huge guessing game of where does the Hecarim want to go? Does he want to try and get that early dragon because he has bot side pressure, or do they want to play for the Herald? We'll have to see what they want to do, as we are back into the game after a brief technical pause. And again, nothing much has changed. Again, Lucian still has 400 gold. He still has double buffs. We'll still be feeling pretty good in that bot lane, which means this is just going to continue going the way it is. As White Paper, Cool Kid's taking quite a bit of damage. That's the cleanse going to be committed there. Shield going to come out as well. White Paper trying to zone off Cheese Chaz, but is dropping very low. That's going to be the bandage toss on all of him. Exhaust comes down on top of Cheese Chaz. They want to try and knock this one down if they can, and they do! They're going to knock him down. Bello's going to dodge on the bandage toss. Cool Kid Pete manages to walk away with a kill, but it's not the first one. Hello? Supportal combat! Bello's going to sway White Paper. It's bloody in the bot lane, and even as we sung the praises of the Lucian, he gets gotten the buffs, ultimately still going to be on the Samira.
Yes, it's ultimately a 1v1 for these two teams, so great job there below from trying to get at least one thing to avenge their ADC, Cheese Chaz. But I thought they might have won.
Hello?
What? Oh, this has to be a disconnect. I don't know if we're having any more issues that should be addressed, but we'll know soon enough. But Horizon, I think on that one, maybe Cheese Chaz was a little too overconfident, because maybe they were watching us and they saw like, hey, I am literally a god.
Yeah, hope not, as we are hearing from the producer that it was not a disconnect, so not sure why Bella would have executed underneath the tower's fall. So going to get caught trying to steal some Raptors here. Again, Quick Slice fine to just deny this. Lucian's here, though. That's going to be the strike on top of him, and one more auto attack would do it. Quick Slice wants to, guys, dash forward and get this one. Momentary stun, and Flawless, he's going to walk away with his life. Quick Slice not going to do anything else. Now White Paper's here. Bandage toss. Endless Salvation throwing the damage in. Oh, it's a pause just like the last time we cast it. It's the worst time. Oh, ADC's lagging. It is going to be a full pause. This happened the last time we casted moments before disaster. It's a freeze frame. I can't believe it again. Oh, what do they want to do? This setup perfect. I mean, White Paper landed the bandage toss, but it's a teleport being committed from Hive. How do they want to play this? As ADC is again having problems. I have to see how this plays out. So much action on the Rift right now.
Yes, it is. We had so much happening in the river, rotating to the bot, and then coming to the mid lane as well, especially with Cheese Chaz following that. Below is just there. If we have a look here, just behind the leaderboard, the counters, and the TP coming in. I don't know if it's going to be quick enough to deny the kill on Cheese Chaz, but we'll see how that's going to be. We have a jungler also there, W Zach, around the corner, but definitely far away, even though they are a Hecarim. They run fast, but not that much, especially not in 5 minutes into the game. And I think at this stage, it looks like a Long Island superiority in this team fight.
Yep, Bello is waiting in the wings, so we'll be able to assist the two members there as we're fixing to get back into it. White Paper, again, wants to try and make sure that they can zone off, allow Salvation to get the damage. They want to peel off. White Paper's going to recommit with another bandage toss. Is going to flash out. Is going to be chained up, though. Aatrox waiting for him to come back. He gets the auto. That's another kill going over to OU, and they've navigated that pause pretty well, as Cool Kid wasn't able to get there to affect the lane. So OU right now in very commanding lead of this game.
Yes, and Valor, we mentioned they were just around the corner there, and it was fast enough. Not only that, they positioned super well to block the abilities coming from Endless Salvation that would probably finalize Cheese Chaz, but it was enough. Not only did they save them, they got a kill on the Trundle, so that's on the Amumu, so that's really nice for OU, as you mentioned, and it's building to a good lead.
Yeah. already about 2,000 gold lead for Oakland University, which I think they're going to be very happy with. Now, something that I want to highlight real quick that happened off camera, we're not really off camera, we just saw the last glimpse of it, was that gank in the top lane as Lonely got ganked by Aatrox. So Aatrox obviously coming away with a kill there is going to feel pretty nice. And I mean, so right now, Oakland is doing a really good job in navigating this early game like we would have wanted them to, making sure that they're answering for some of the comp weaknesses that they do have. And right now, Lucian not in a bad spot, even though he gave over some of that shutdown gold, well, some of the kill gold plus the buffs, but ultimately hasn't amounted to anything because right now they've just been winning across the rift.
Yes, they have, and as you said, the double buff, unfortunately, for Samira, that wasn't really much. Don't think they could capitalize on anything aside. I think it was wasted when they went for mid lane. I think Samira was still there, so it wasn't much that they could get out of it. Quick slice, though, dealing so much damage on Endless Salvation. Well, they are they are safer this time. Oh, but for how long?
He's got ulti. Can he actually get out of this one? Onslaught of Shadows not going to be able to get it. One auto attack didn't even need to commit the ult, and that's going to be the Rise going down. Meanwhile, though, in the top side, flawlessly going to try and gank the Wizard Lizard. Just wants to get away. Hyphen just trying to run. Lonely Afternoon needs a couple of auto attacks. Tries to get to the bush. Denying a little bit, though. Lonely's just going to be willing to let this go. Can't let it go too long, though. Hyphen might kill him. Is going to slowly tick. Hyphen needs one more blast of the Q and an auto to do it, but auto attack should just finish this out. And yeah, the Wizard Lizard not going to be getting away, but in the bot lane, it's non-stop action. Quick Slide is going to help them pick up another one. Aatrox going to be the recipient of that kill. Picks up the Moo, and they're going to shove this out.
Oh my god, while we were just looking at the top lane, what happened here? Aatrox not only guaranteed the perfect setup for WZAC on the mid lane to get the kill on Endless Salvation, also wasting their ulti there on Rise. They moved to the bot lane, got something there as well. It's the third kill on White Paper, unfortunately, for Long Island. And as we mentioned, Oakland University positioning themselves super well across the map. All quick slides.
That blue buff range. People forgot. It's changed. It's a lot shorter. That's what we were talking about. That buff range being a little convenient. Quick slice, with the old buff, might have been able to steal that away. Might have been able to kite it further, but nope, it resets. So one of the things I want to ask you too, because obviously we've had a couple of pauses in this game, and I think that that's definitely affected the tempo at which these teams are trying to play. So, I mean, one of the things that we're seeing right now is it kind of looks like they're a bit confused and confuddled in terms of what they want to do and where they want to go. So, I mean, for Long Island, you're losing early in this game. You don't have the tempo really anywhere on the map. You've had a couple of pauses that have really kind of thrown off your pacing. What is their way back into this game?
I think it's something that I've already mentioned. If you see the team on one buff, for example, this one, they are here for the Herald, you might, well, they're probably going to try to engage on this one. Sorry, my advice is going to do for nothing.
Potential team fight here. Do they want to actually stop this? No. Quick Slice is going to be here, so that's going to make sure that they can't contest that, so they will just...
That's what I mean. Like, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be worth it to try to get that Herald because you have the pressure because the enemy team is more powerful than you at this stage. Not only that, you don't have vision, and you had a Cassio... you have vision there in the bottom river. You could have just rotated and gotten Drake instead.
Yes.
So I think that makes much more sense, and that's exactly what I was going to suggest instead of going for they feel hesitant, as you said. They feel like they are losing the momentum because of the pauses, and they went in. Then the buff is gone. So
yes. Yeah, and right now, too, obviously the other side effect of trying to contest on that Herald take when you really don't have the ability to do it is that's going to be the wave committed. White Paper, he's going to miss. The bandage toss. Curse the Sad Mummy comes down, though. Bello trying to survive right now, manages to flash away, and it's going to be the Amumu falling first. Nami wants to get away, and now it's going to be the ult from Cool Kid. He's healing so much, but it's going to be a double kill for Cheese Chaz in the end as an engage that LIU tried to pick goes against them. OU feeling really good. Lucian 3-1-3 and only getting stronger.
Yes, only getting strongest level 7 there. I think Nami first, probably level 6. Let's see what they end one. Yeah,
she
level
did
7
get the title
as well.
Win, so yeah, so
Look
she's level
at
7.
that. Yeah, wow, that's really great because it's usually so common to see the support not being on par with level. So to see that both of them are the same level there, that look at that. 1, 2, and 5 for Nami, 3, 1, and 3 for Lucian. They have a lot in their pockets. Hence why they already have a complete item on their bags. Whereas on the side of Long Island, once again, I don't think it was the best idea to go for an engage. I don't know if they got engaged upon, but it felt like they were already too advanced in the lane. So maybe that wasn't the best call.
Yeah. Now, this should just be a free Drake for them. Obviously, they're not going to have 100% vision as to where Hecarim is at, who is just going to be resetting now. So this Dragon will go down fairly quickly. But one of the points that I wanted to make before we saw that engage in the top lane, and one of the things I would have expected WZEC to do, would have been to go on bot lane with that Herald and try and get those plates and get control over that lane, so that way they could transfer over to the Dragon and take that ability. Is Cheese Jack, he's going to dash forward. Cool Kid's basically going to get deleted. Surviving for a little while, though. Now Cheese Jack's trying to get away. That's going to be the flash committed to make sure he survives. But White Paper, he makes sure that the kill gets finished off. Lucian's going to drop, and he's not going to allow anything to go down for free. WZEC is here, though. Set waiting in the wings. Goes committed. Bandage tossed out. Is going to get picked up, and now that's going to be the realm more committed. Does Rise come in? Yes, he does. They want to try and knock down this Hecarim if they can. Onslaught of Shadows on the back line. Endless is going to have to flee for his life for a minute. Bubble's going to hit onto Tooth. That's absolutely huge. WZEC still in this fight as the set is trying to do anything to get the damage in. Just wants to knock down one if he can. But the healing from Nami is so huge. The Conqueror is huge. It's a double kill for WZEC. It is a 12-kill lead for OU, and they are absolutely smashing in this game. Quick Slice, though, can you get out of this? That's going to be the World Ender Pop. Wants to try and dash away. Has a little bit of healing, but the Subjugate is a huge ability to have. Flash over the wall. He's just wasting time. Will get spotted. Oh, Mission Impossible. Can he get out?
Is it enough?
He has teleport. He has
time
teleport.
to-
He can get out of this as long as he doesn't get erupted. Oh, no. He's going to get caught between the turret. No.
Yeah, he was just aiming for the execute, but I think they waited a little too long. But, Horizon, I was so happy to see how great Bello played on that bot lane. I saw one bubble that missed, and even though one of them missed, the rest of them were absolutely enough. On top lane, though, the gank is gonna be secured. WZEC not only getting that one, but also dropping the Herald. But Horizon, let's talk about how at that stage in the game there were 12 kills for Oakland University, and Nami had participated in 10 of them.
She is absolutely putting in the work, and that's what you love to see of a support, obviously. And this is the other thing too, and I think it's great to highlight is White Paper is going to try and kill Cheese Jazz, and that will not work out for him. He's just going to get deleted. Meanwhile, Bello feeling like he can 1v1 the Samira, which she absolutely can right now as long as Cheese Jazz doesn't get down. Now that's almost proc there. Wants to try to get in the middle of two, dash forward, going to be hopping underneath the turret. No, just too short. The turret's going to come up huge. Bello and Cheese Jazz played that so well. They knew the Samira wanted to pop the ult, and they get punished. And OU, they just cannot be stopped in the Observer. Oh, the BM.
Oh my god, that felt like an Observer teabag. That is absolutely
That was dirty.
brutal. Brutal. Oh my god, but as you said, that bot lane played super great. They knew Samir was gonna try and go in to get the healing with the ulti as soon as they had it open, but Quick Slice is in the best situation in this one.
Yeah, and that's going to be the unstoppable onslaught, though, committed over the wall, and right now Quickslice just trying to survive this, though. Will they be able to turn that? They might be able to. He's going to get the first one, and now Lonely Aftershow has to get out of here. Flash committed. They wanted that fight, but it just got turned in their face, and LIU, they just cannot find a fight that they can win.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate, but great positioning from WZEC because they were close, and as a Hecarim should do, they saw danger and they came running, and it worked out so well. Quick Slice is now on 3-1 and 2. That Hecarim himself on a 700 gold bounty. What is that? It's 15 minutes into the game. What is going on?
This is like a, I don't know, I'm trying to remember the name, but it's like the Preakness, you know, the horse racing championship. If you had to bet on a horse right now to win that race, you'd be picking Hecarim because he's absolutely all over this map. And again, this is what we highlighted so far on these compositions, is making sure for OU that you're getting out to these commanding leads. And that is exactly what they have done. And right now, Long Island just don't really feel like they have any answers. They feel like they're grasping at straws. And the other one that's going to be grasping anything is the Death Chamber for Cool Kid. Is this going to be another double kill in that bot lane? Rather, it's just going to be one kill apiece. Quick Slice is going to get one. Lucian's going to get another. They're so far ahead of this game right now. In LIU, they are trying, they're grasping to get anything done. But every time they step too far forward, every time they even look at something, they're getting punished.
Yes, they are. And look at that Lucian. 2 items already, the Gale Force, the Rapid Fire Cannon. You're not going to be able to do anything
It's
against
only
them.
16 minutes. Oh, Lonely.
Exactly.
Oh, jeez, no. Oh, face breaker. He's going to get bubbled. Jesus has absolutely he's going to get the grabs. It's going to be the showstopper in the backline. It just doesn't matter. There's nothing he can do. Rum Warp to try and at least put some pressure on. They're going to be a little bit short. Pillar's going to split the two. Flash forward. That's going to be the Everfrost. G-Staz wants to try and get out of this. Wants to avoid the subject. He has the movement speed. Nami, can he keep him healthy, though? Shutdown going to go over. Lucian will drop, and surely Bellows should follow. Flash forward bubble. The fish is going to live, but they end up dropping the Lucian.
Yeah, no sushi for tonight, but Lucian is gonna go down instead. But that's what I love to see. When you see something happening in one lane that maybe feels like an overextend, but then your team is actually capitalizing on the other side. They had the Herald there. Oh no, they actually didn't even pop the Herald. They just took it.
Yes.
They just took it. They didn't. Oh, what?
Yeah, who needs Herald when you've just got a tower-taking machine at the top side? And the best part is now they can use that for later. Yes, they're going to give up a second drag for it, but honestly, if you're OU, you don't care right now. 2 drags is nothing to write home about, especially if you're giving it over to a losing team that can't do anything with it. And right now, it is the Chemtech rift, so not the worst rift to be playing on for OU, so that's not going to bother them at all. It's not like an Ocean or a Hextech Soul or Drag or anything like that, so I'm interested to see what the actual Soul is going to be. I think it's actually going to be that Cloud Soul. So now that'll just help them. So even if they do end up giving the drag soul for whatever ungodly reason they decide to do that, they won't have to worry about it. As the observer, yes, thank you, helping us with that one. They are making sure that we don't sound dumb. So yeah, it is going to be that cloud soul there. So even if OU decide that they want to give that up, it's not going to hurt them. They already have a Hecarim. Really, LIU doesn't benefit that much from the extra movement speed. I mean, outside of the Trundle, so it's really just status quo. And right now, flawlessly going to become part of the status quo. He's going to drop immediately. WZEC is dominating in this matchup. That's going to be the tier 2 in the mid lane falling. Herald going to charge on the tier 3. This is an 18-minute game. Can they get an early inhibitor off this one? Or goes to Sab Mummy. Going to buy a little bit of time, a little bit of space. They're still fighting underneath the turret. Bubble's going to make sure that no one gets any closer. The second to be on the wrong side of this matchup now. Showstopper going down the top of him. WZ wants to make sure he gets out of this one. Face breaker. There's a lot of tankiness, but not enough. Endless Salvation going to fall as well. Inhibitor's going to drop, and this might be a sub-20 minute as it is 4 death chambers right now for LIU. The charge is going to go down in it, and so this might just be a 20-minute game.
Wait, is this really going to be? There's still 2 players, 3 players
20?
that need to respawn. Oh my god, it's just the mommy there. I don't think they can do much. Trundle either. Samira trying to join. Oh, now this is not going to be the 20 minutes. Samira's going to jump in and get the shutdown onto the Hecarim, so a little bit of good news, but that's honestly just a kind of a give-me prize for OU, just over-forcing. And yeah, right now they're making their presence really, really felt in this game, making sure that gold lead hurts. And that is an inhibitor down pre-20 minutes, which means that now LIU, they're going to have to respond to that for the next couple of minutes, which should just mean Baron for OU. Oh, Horizon, I just looked at the gold. It's more than
I'm shielding my eyes.
15,000.
Underage viewers, look away. It is atrocious. It's not rated for your eyes.
Oh my god. We need to, oh my god. We need to put a sensor on it. Oh no, it's 15,000.
If you need a loan, ask OU because they're Mr. Moneybags over there. They're feeling really good. Yeah, that's just you don't ever want to call a game over before it's over. But 15,000 gold lead. Yes, you've given up 2 drakes, but you honestly don't care. You're going to have access to Baron. There's nothing LIU can do right now in terms of stocking that objective going down. So really, this should just be the final march here for OU in this game.
I think the only thing LIU can do is try to steal this one, because if they have the Baron buff, it's going to be easier to try and help the lane there.
You know what? I've seen crazier things. I saw SKT steal a number of Barons from a jungler, but I don't think that's going to be happening this time, as that's unstoppable onslaught over the wall. Wyatt Paper pops the curse of the Sad Mummy just to try and get out a little bit of space. That's going to be the Realm War committed into absolutely nothing. Flash forward, petrifying gaze. That's another kill. It's a double kill going over to WZEC and out. Lonely After Show. He's trying to get out of this one, but Bello and a Chaz are going to make sure they knock him down. Lucian's going to dash the other way, and yeah, this should just be the final nail in the coffin here for LIU, as it's a fight on multiple fronts. They're not even going to get that one. They're on to the Nexus, and so this is just going to be game 1 going towards OU.
I did not come into this gig tonight expecting this. I was not expecting this, but OU really delivering a 21 minute less than 21
less than 20 minutes.
Less than 21 minutes on the clock. That is absolutely unbelievable. And to be fair, was basically what they had to do, right? They had a comp, they had advantage in the early game, and they as we mentioned, they got the lottery ticket. They got the winning lottery ticket when they got that little kill on Trundle on 2 minutes. You basically guaranteed assist for 4 champions. Basically, all of your team, aside from top lane, a kill on a first strike Lucian, double buffs on a lane that was already theirs. They had to take that game and just deliver it to them, because if they gave any chance, you had a Samira, you had things that could try to slow you down. But on 15,000 gold, my God.
I'm going to be asking OU for a loan anytime I try to build another computer or thing like that. I mean, you highlighted it. The early game advantage was there from OU, and they absolutely made it stick. We talked about that early laning advantage for the Lucian, for the Nami. They made it work. They managed to rotate to get the Trundle down. The early gold leads to a lot of success for them. And yes, Lucian did die in the following play, feeling, maybe a little bit too big for his britches, but it didn't matter because of what they were able to turn that into. And absolutely, I think flawless play for them. And they answered the concerns that we had about the composition. They showed that they could perform on it. And that late game scaling never had a chance to get going for LIU. 21-minute game.
There is no late game.
No late game.
There is no late game. There is no late game. I was thinking when they were so far ahead, I feared that Oakland University might start falling behind, because once Hecarim is on that power spike, he's just gonna unscale after that. There's not going to be much that he's gonna be able to do against the Amumu, against the Trundle, swapping the specs there. So it was dangerous. So that's, as I said, it's what they had to do. They got an early advantage. They stuck with it, and they guaranteed a 1-0 lead. And once again, saying that this is such a precious game for Oakland University, because if they do it, if they do win, they're gonna guarantee such a better spot in the seeding for the playoffs.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to have to see whether or not Long Island University can fight back in the second game, if they can have a longer game, or if OU can put a quick 2-0 to the series, because they are on now officially match points. So we will have to see in the second game. But don't go anywhere, because if you do, you won't be able to see if they come up. So don't go anywhere, because game 2 is coming right up.
Everybody's good competition, so.
And sorry, what was your name?
Ethan.
Ethan from Mineral Area.
Yep.
Very exciting. Well, Ethan, good luck.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. What kind of pass? A player pass?
Let me get you on here.
No, you actually have to tape it to your chest, really awkwardly with masking tape. Okay. And it's gonna fall off. Yeah. It's gonna be uncomfortable, I promise. That's a guarantee. Okay, cut that, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, great. I'm great, everything's good.
Who do we interview? Who should we interview?
I don't know, I'm just here. I need caffeine.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big.
Welcome to ECAC Top Plays of the Week. This is Rod, your favorite host, back at it again with more stellar plays from collegiate esports. Special thanks to our partners at Esports U for the additional coverage. Let's hop straight into it. Starting off this week at number 8, we have Torchy showing aerial dominance. They show that you're going to have to work a little bit harder if you want to get back on their stage.
Tiny bit here. Now you got to mix up your timings getting back onto the stage. Torchy is looking for something, able to still find the jab, and the foil is going to be.
Next up, we have Cabnus, showing us what impact on a support player really looks like. With the timing of a Lucio God, they come in to claim the play of the game.
Player just going to deny anyone an attempt to hit the objective, and I mean, at this point in time, you got to expect those rollouts to be as quick as they are.
Moving on to Rocket League, we have Swax, showing why they own the airspace with a nice self-follow-up, netting WSC the goal.
As we are going to try to find out that little nugget of information, Swax is going to drop this one down and give us a tie game here in game number 2. Gets that nice little touch over the defender, Peter.
As an Astro main myself, Nothing brings me more joy than watching Zeno hold it down on the C site with a nice 4K to secure the second round of the half.
Fine, there's a 50-50 angle. They're checking a beautiful spray down onto 3. Players come in for the rotate from the rest of the map control. And a beautifully played round by FSE, capped off by a nice old...
Now at the number 4 spot, we see that luck is a skill when Post gets 2 back-to-back kickoff goals. All it took was 6 seconds to go from a deficit to the lead. That is comeback potential.
Other ways.
I don't... What? Okay, so Warda actually messed up their kickoff. They 100% did not mean to land like that and then just happened to get a wave dash into it. Hey, listen, fortune favors the bold, and sometimes it's better to have dumb luck than to not be lucky at all. So we'll take it 100%, especially if they get another one. Kabuki to tally it on, and they're proving it isn't just luck.
Coming back into Smash, we have Bryce showing a ledge guard of the gods. It took a couple Gordos to nail it, but this clip truly ended in perfection.
Nope, not a footstool in sight, unfortunately.
I'm just going to be looking for some sort of an edge guard here now. That Gordo is right in the way, and Bryce going to be able to get the...
Conrad came into this round swinging. They really showed what happens when you combine the skill of a great player and the blessing of the RGX Vandal.
Over-aggression, it worked out so well. I mean, just a double kill already in their favor. Which so far the Sheriff, I mean, has been truly impressive. Unfortunately, he was not been there to follow up. Conrad now looking for the ace, already able to find 3, looking for 2 more. There's the 4th, and it's up to the tail to save the day. Conrad goes in deep. Oh, they're able to find it. Conrad.
Finally, at the number 1 spot this week, Frosty lays down the law with a stunning barrage. What a way to tell the enemy to get off my point.
Frosty to move in, unabated, unhindered. Here comes the rocket barrage, and it's lighting up the scene with 4.
Well, that wraps it up for me. This has been another fantastic week of ECAC Top Plays of the Week. As always, follow us on Twitter and catch us live on Twitch at ECAC_esports. You can find us live on Mondays and Tuesdays at 8 p.m. EST or Wednesdays at 7. Thanks again to our partners at Esports U for providing all the additional coverage for us to show you. This has been Rod, the best host of this season. I'm just saying. And I'm signing off.
Hi everyone, my name is Heather Garozzo, also known as Sapphire. I'm so excited to join you here today. This is an initiative that means a lot to me. I've been involved in esports now for a little more than I want.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Caster Deck. I'm still Horizon, that's still Soph-chan, and we are getting ready to get into the draft for Game 2 after we saw a pretty convincing Game 1 from Oakland University. Really, I would say there's a lot to take away from that one, but I think if you're LIU, I think maybe you're just trying to move on for that one and get on to the second game.
Yeah, you kind of are. You have to shake it off. You got to pretend that didn't happen. That it wasn't a 15K gold lead, and it wasn't a 21-minute game for Oakland University. So if you're Long Island, that didn't happen. This is a fresh start, and they're going on in it already with the Kazakhs, the Udip, and Oakland locking down the Caitlyn and the Hecarim. So this time, Oakland. Wait, didn't.
They swap sides.
Yeah, no, wait, hold on. They're banning their own champion? Why?
Well, I think in this particular instance, knowing that Long Island has access to the first pick, obviously Hecarim is an interesting pick given the meta. Obviously, you don't want to let that one go through. Is Lonely After Snow. He's going to go ahead and pick up that Aatrox, so interesting denial away from Quick Slice. They just want to make sure that doesn't go over again. One of the things that we talk about a lot in the series is draft adaptations, and so it's always interesting to see what teams prioritize in terms of picking and banning and what they think is actually the problem. And for Long Island, I think the difficulty in this draft, especially as we're going to see this start to develop, is that that there are a lot of champions that on that last draft that you could attribute to being part of the reason that Oakland won. Like the Nami was good, the Lucian was good, Hecarim, the Wizard Lizard, Cassiopeia, and then obviously having access to the Aatrox, and they were all decent champions. It all combined really well, so it can be difficult to pick apart which champion actually gave you problems and which ones you actually need to take away. But I do think this is interesting. I see a little bit of North American Fiora over there, and I tell you what, I have seen a lot of North American Fiora in my time.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I think Nami, for example, was definitely one of the things that made the comp work so well. Of course, Hecarim too, but making that Lucian just invincible every single fight, even if Lucian wasn't there, Nami was just allowing everyone to just stay healthy for so long. Ooh, about fast luck. I enjoy that.
Okay, this is another late game scaling champion. Long Island might be tipping their hand a little bit. Obviously, they have some late game insurance already in the Aatrox, but that Bel'Veth, interesting to see how she's going to play with the jungle changes, especially given the fact that obviously Rift Herald is an important objective for her, making sure that she gets the early transform. Graves, a very, very difficult champion to try and take that from while he's alive.
Yeah, and maybe they're trying to convince themselves that WZAC is not going to go for invades because of all the new preseason, the new patch and everything. And that basically would be a no-no if it was before, because the Graves would definitely go for the invade, would definitely go for those early skirmishes, the 1v1s, because he's going to have the upper hand every time. And maybe this time Flawlessly is allowing themselves to be a little more confident in a mid to late game jungler there, because they might not be that afraid of steals. But at the same time, they chose Ashe. Are they really going for that mid to late game? I don't know what they could choose for the rest of the team that would be good synergy, because if they're going for a late game Horizon, they require a lane phase that can withstand until a late game.
Yeah. One thing I do want to raise as a possibility is that Ashe might be going into the hands of White Paper on the support. Obviously, they haven't locked in at ADC yet, so that could be interesting. And the Heimer ban away too is probably what would help enable that. I think kind of counterintuitive for Oakland there. You would probably like to have kept that Heimer up and having that as a possibility into the Ashe if you do think that's going to go support. So them banning Heimer signals to me that they don't believe that it is going to go in that support role. So very interesting to see how they deal with that. Two things I want to raise about Oakland's comp. So first of all, very elusive. Obviously, Graves and Ezreal are very difficult to lock down. The Fiora has a lot of ways to deny CC, but my concern is that in these three champions, you are very, very squishy. Yes, you do have some ways to kind of sustain, but any amount of CC is going to kill any of these three champions.
Yes, maybe with yeah, I wasn't. Okay, I like that.
Okay, Silas, that
better.
Makes much more sense.
I like that so much better. And maybe if they went for something very tanky, maybe they could go for a Mumu that we saw the last time. Maybe they could go for a Nautilus. I mean, to be fair, it's a preseason. You can literally do anything.
Yeah. Well, and
we
that's
don't
the other
have
thing.
any idea what's the meta.
Yeah, well, and that's the great thing about this, too, is that, you talk about throwing, you can talk about even things throwing. That's a Lux. I was going to make a point about throwing things at the wall until they stick, and they might be throwing a Lux at the wall and seeing if that sticks. I have an immediate concern, though, is that they have given Silas another really good ultimate to steal. In fact, there are 5 really good ultimates on Long Island here to steal. So Silas is like a kitty canister, like, oh, what am I going to pick now? What am I going to get you with? But no, they are going to lock into Lulu. You know what? Wild Growth, not a terrible ult for him to steal either. And I like the Amumu response there from Oakland. They are like, hey, you want to go for this laning phase? You think your bot lane's better than ours? We're going to show you that it's not. And they're going to lock in that Amumu. And I love that draft adaptation for them. Gives them frontline, gives them engage. And with the Silas, oh, no, they switch it to Blitzcrank. Oh, I would love this, especially into this comp. If you can grab the Lulu or the Ashe, you absolutely deny all of the safety, all the utility. Yes, they're going to lock it in. It's a Blitzcrank. We got a Blitzcrank into this final week from these two teams. I love it. I love this draft, Sofchan. There is so much stuff to break down.
Oh, yes, there is, absolutely. And since it's preseason, these players are really feeling confident about going into their comfort picks. They want to try it out. They maybe, I'm not going to say they're limit testing, but they're definitely going for things that they know work in regards to the nature of a champion, because in regards to balancing, in regards to items, in regards to the new mechanics with jungle. It's all going to be different, and that affects the lane phases of the duo lanes, the solo lanes, and all of that. So you said Horizon, that is so much to break down. I want to start with what is the first thing you want to point out?
Let's talk about this jungle matchup, because I feel like we have to, because this was where all the troubles began for Long Island in the last game, right? So they had that Trundle who just wanted a Scuttle Crab. That's all he wanted. Well, guess what? You can't have the Scuttle Crab, because they absolutely collapsed on that guy. They made him pay, so flawlessly was the first blood in that game. And I think you have to start there for both of these comps, right? Graves is a really, really, really difficult champion to duel in every phase of the game. He actually scales pretty well. I know some people have different opinions about his itemization and how useful he is in the late game, but this is a champion that just does pure damage. So when you're trying to outfight him, especially in the early stages, it can be really, really difficult to sustain. And for a champion like Bel'Veth, that really needs to get through the first 5 to 8 minutes unhindered and get access to that Herald, it is really, really difficult to fight a Graves in this situation. So for me, it's going to be about WSEC just making sure, like, hey, you don't have any permission to move around on this map. And if you mess up once, I'm going to kill you.
Yes, exactly. If you make one mistake, it's gonna be a reach for me to capitalize on you, and it's basically what Oakland University has to do, right? And on top of that, make the rotation for the Herald. It's like when you play against the Kindred, right? You just see the mark, you go there. You see the mark, you follow. You see a Herald spawning, you're against the Bel'Veth, you follow. So you gotta be there to counterattack. You gotta be there to deny the buff for Long Island. Since, as we mentioned, they're gonna be so heavily reliant on flawlessly trying to have a good early game. On just a second. Are we having the Lulu or are we having the Lux?
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to try and double check, because it was a last second change. It looked like it was Lulu in the actual draft, but then now it's changed back over to Lux. Interested to see what that is. The producers will, of course, clear that up for us. But while we wait for them to clarify that, I want to get your opinion on this matchup between the Victor in the mid lane and the Silas, because obviously there's different ways that this matchup goes at different stages. So let's kind of discuss it. So give us the idea of how this matchup is supposed to go throughout the different game stage as we go from 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 15 and so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if we talk about 5 minutes, we're talking about at least the level 3 for both of these champions. And as soon as Hyphy NA gets there, I think he can be very oppressive on Victor. But if Victor can have good pressure on the lane and shove the wave a lot and leave Silas underneath the tower, that's going to be good, because you really have to deny the pressure on the lane. And if there is space for Silas to go on you, he's going to do so. It's the same thing with Yasuo, it's the same thing with Yon, right? And with Zed as well. So those sort of bruisers, assassins, melees in the mid lane, they want to be there. They want to be a bully to you. And I think it's going to depend on what sort of pressure we have from both junglers to try to back the mid laners up and see if there's going to be space, if there's going to be warding around to protect them, and at least have an idea where the other jungler is.
Yes.
So it's going to rely on those things. When we have already in the map, like the first, maybe already the second Drake spawning, we're coming to a point where you're always thinking about, okay, what's probably going to be a potential soul? What is going to be the best course of action? We have a Bel'Veth, maybe we try to go for top, maybe we going for Herald, or we rotate for the Drake. And that's going to make a difference in regards to, once again, how this matchup in the mid lane is going to be, because once again, it's so reliant in the junglers. And depending on how it goes in the beginning of the game, you're going to have a much more difficult time when you get to the 10-15 minutes, because as soon as the level 6 hits on the Silas, he's going to be able to do more damage to you, bruise you quicker, and also steal your ulti. So you're not going to be unique anymore. You're going to be a very simple copy in the Rift, and he's going to be able to be on top of you every time. But once we get to later stages, if the Victor has more possibility to get the damage from afar, having, there's not much of a front line for Long Island, but at least having Aatrox there, Lulu to be able to back him up with the ulti, Ashe as well to keep them at bay, slow down from a distance, you're gonna be able to land those lasers, get the stuns on the ground, and influence positively on 5v5 scenarios. But that's where as well can become so difficult, because now it's going to include the rest of the players, right? So you're gonna have Bello, you're gonna have them trying to hook you, you're gonna have the Fiora trying to go in you and get the vital points to knock you down, because as we mentioned earlier, Horizon, it's such a squishy comp on the side of Long Island, and that's going to be something to interfere in regards to this matchup in the mid lane, because when we get to the mid stage of the game, the 20 minutes, and this last game 20 minutes was end of the game, just a reminder that we get to that stage where it's not a lane phase anymore, so you have to be aware of all the other aspects of the team and the objectives coming around.
Yeah. And one of the things I think, going off of that I want to highlight too, is you talked about that team fighting. The zone control from Long Island is really, really good around these neutral objectives. So if you can bully the Silas and keep him under control, then you have a lot of ways to play the game. But again, we talked about the amount of utility that Silas has and all of the ultimates that he can steal in this game, as it is going to be confirmed as that Lulu for the support there for Long Island is going to be huge. That means that Silas is going to have continued survivability as well. So if he steals the wild growth, he can continue to take aggressive trades. Stealing Ashe ulti, Victor ulti, Silas, or sorry, not Silas, but Aatrox ulti, really, really devastating abilities, and if used at the right time, can absolutely overturn a team fight. And I think the poke and the overall strength of Oakland's composition, especially when you have champions like Blitzcrank that can lock down some of these squishier members, you can delete them off the face of the planet before they even get the chance to team fight, is a huge deal. So interested to see how they're actually going to navigate those instances, how they're actually going to be able to navigate those team fights, and really what leads can either of these teams get out from. I would think that with an early game lead, you definitely have to favor Oakland's composition just because of how efficient they are with the gold. But if Long Island can delay the game, if they can make sure that they get to their late game power spikes, make sure that they get to 2-3 item power mark before really any devastating team fights happen, then I think that they'll be okay.
Yes, and that's one of the things we talked about when we were seeing the draft happen. If Oakland went for such an oppressive comp once again as they have right now, they have the early game pressure, we would love to see Long Island having a lane phase that can withstand that sort of pressure. A lane phase that can actually be there and survive the attempts of engages, that can have good vision. We have an Ashe right now, so that's going to be good to spot people around the map and be more safe in your lane. But at the same time, it's squishy. It's squishy, as we mentioned.
It's very squishy.
Before level 6, the spot lane can't do anything. There is nothing they can do. They can only withstand a dive if they have level 6 to get the crystal arrow, to get the crescendo right from Lulu, to keep yourselves sustained in trying to survive a dive. But before that, and I think that's definitely where WZAC has to be most proactive, of course, thinking about the timer for Herald as well, to have good presence in the top lane to deny the Belvath, is going to be go on Cool Kid Pete on white paper, because not only do you have damage as a Graves in the early game, you have Bello to just pull them in. So it's going to be a little harder for Long Island. Once again, I will say they have, because of a late game stage, they need to be more careful. They need to be more precise. They have to have good communication to make everything work.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of one of the things that we talk about a lot in drafting is late game versus the early game. And the thing that I think a lot of teams forget too is the fact that the late game is not guaranteed, right? If you have a team comp that has early game advantages, then you can see easy ways to leverage those. But the late game, it's always amorphous. It's always out there. You might reach it, you might not. So obviously you have to take additional steps to make sure that you actually can reach that late game phase. It'll be interesting to see how Long Island actually accomplishes that, or whether or not Oakland University can actually make their early game stick a little bit more, if they can repeat what they did in game 1, as we are on to the Rift for game number 2. Oakland University on the red side, Long Island University on the blue side. Let's see if they can make any adjustments. Soph-chan, you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Blitzcrank run mid lane and hook somebody in that little bush.
Oh, yeah. We love to see a little positioning to steal blue buff, to steal, well, in this side of the map, to definitely go for the red there. But they, once again, they look to be a little more careful. They're not gathering in a certain bush to try and be sneaky about it, or
Oh.
maybe they are. Okay, never mind.
Hife's going to get spotted there. Doesn't land the chain, so won't abscond with anybody. Bello waiting in the wings. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Bello still a champion. Yeah, that red buff misses is nice, but it's always more fun to see first blood
absolutely.
going over. Yeah.
Oh,
So-
definitely.
Now, one of the things I want to talk about in this bot lane matchup is we're seeing these guys still hovering here. Is it's going to be a possible late invade. King's going down. They're not committing to it, so just kind of trying to put pressure. But in this bot lane matchup, obviously Blitzcrank chews through mana really, really quickly, even after all the changes that have happened in this preseason. It's 100 mana IQ. It's a really expensive ability to be throwing down, so that means that you do need to be landing it, while you're throwing it out. And I think one of the advantages that LIU does have in this bot lane is having that Ashe and having that Lulu where they can poke from a distance. Obviously, they can stand behind minions and be safe that way. So what is the way that OU tries to make the most use of this Blitzcrank while they don't have access to the first couple of levels?
I think it's to be very aware of how the abilities are being used from Cookie Beat and White Paper. So if you see that those hyphen A.
Oh, he had that Conqueror proc, but it's not going to be enough damage. This is kind of what you expect on this mid lane, just the poking,
Yeah.
but I'll let you go back to your point.
Yeah, thank you so much there. So, it's very reliable on checking the cooldowns on Lulu, on Ashe to be able to go in. As you mentioned, they can poke you from a distance, and not only that, you have to be aware of, okay, does Lulu already have the movement speed? Can she give it to Ashe to dodge the ability? Is that going to be possible to do? Can I time those hooks well behind a minion after Cheese Chaz gets the last hit? It has to be very well thought because, as you mentioned, they have great capabilities of poking before they can even try to reach a hook. So it's going to be, once again, a matchup that has to be careful.
Yeah. And in this particular instance, too, talking about some of the difficulties that Blitzcrank can have, as Quick Slice going to be landing all of those points down on the Lonely After Snow, is that you really do need the junglers to get involved. That way you can create chaos. The more mistakes that you can induce into the positioning of a team that has something like a Lulu that offers a lot of safety, that can land the polymorph on something that's ganking, the better it's going to be. So if you can make people go out wide or move to areas where they don't have an ability to get away from a hook, that's going to be much, much better for OU. So again, having that Graves, having that Belveth getting involved early is going to be huge for both of these teams, as it is a small CS lead in the jungle from Flawlessly. He has access to the level 4 already, as Scuttle Crabs will be spawning soon. Now, they're both in this bot lane, health advantage right now for LIU, and they have the shove, so this should just be the Scuttle going over to Flawlessly. Unless he can just kill it right now.
They're a little far away. WZAC really pushing the Scuttle away. 7 health, but it's enough. Oh, there's going to be collapsed upon Flawlessly alongside Endless Salvation. But they're choosing a fight.
This doesn't look so bad for him right now, as Hyphen's going to be here. WZAC is taking down and Flawlessly has to flash away. Has the red buff to survive just a little bit longer. No first blood going over, but a summoner expended for Flawlessly. They tried to take that fight, but couldn't quite find anything.
The fact that Hy-Vee doesn't have an Ignite, it would have been a certain kill on Flawlessly. But since it was just used the TP from Silas, it's something that you you have to understand. Sometimes you just better be safe than sorry instead of going for those engages. But Quick Slice and WZAC may be pushing here for something. I think it's just too advanced now to try and do anything.
Yep. Now, the nice part for WZAC, too, is because his mid laner got involved in that play, that means that Flawlessly was forced to back, so he gets double Scuttle, which is honestly a rarity in this this day. Yeah. Now that I've played a bunch on the new patch, it's harder to secure both Scuttles just because of the amount of time that there is before they both come up. As Hyphen A, he's going to land the chains on there and land quite a bit of damage. Endless Salvation forced underneath the turret, but yeah, so if I think exactly what we expected in some of that 2v2 matchup, again, that Graves just being such a good duelist, just felt fine just to run through the mid lane and not even be worried about what the Victor wanted to do.
Yes, they did. It was so funny because it felt like they were being ambushed, and then all of a sudden Graves was like, yeah, bring it on!
Yeah, it's like, I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me.
Yeah. Call an ambulance, but not for me.
For me. I know, instead of the small pistol, it's a giant shotgun. But I mean, absolutely, WSEC has just been playing unafraid. I mean, we've seen that in the first matchup where he got out to a really commanding lead, got access to those early ganks, really that early fight, and kind of affected the map in a pretty poignant way. And I think we're already seeing that already. Where I mean, he just felt empowered just to run through the mid lane and know that Victor wasn't going to do anything about it. So that shows a lot of confidence. And honestly, it's what you need when you're playing with an early game composition that does have some late game scaling elements. Obviously, the Ezreal scales fairly well to the late game. So does Fiora. So does Silas. But speaking of the Fiora, so if I want to pick your brain about this, because we have seen so much of this Fiora in matchups like this, both in professional play and collegiate, where on paper, you see what the Fiora wants to do, but in execution, the Aatrox has always been so much easier to perform with. Yeah. Even as I say that, though, that's going to be the grand challenge going down on the Lonely After Shadow. He pops the ulti. Who can win this, though? He wants to get all of the marks. It's going to go down, but that's the end of the ultimate, so no more damage is going to come out from that one. Now Quick Slice may find himself in the wrong fight. This one, Flash Q! That's going to be first blood, goes over to Lonely After Snow. And just as I was about to ask what the Fiora is going to do, it gets answered. It is North American Fiora all over again.
Feels bad, man. And to be fair, Horizon, it was exactly what I was going to say. The Aatrox is going to be easier to play. He's going to be easier to ambush, though. Endless Salvation does still have Flash, and they're in the fog of war.
Can they land this? So this is going to be huge. Flash gets to the top of that one. That's the knockup too. Even after the Flash canceled, he managed to proc it down, and that's going to be the kill going over to Bello, who threw down the Ignite just to make sure that they get the mid laner. It's a response in the mid lane. Yes, it cost them a little bit of time and a little bit of effort, but they knock him down, and now Hyphen and A, he's going to be feeling pretty in this mid lane. He's going to shove that wave in a turret, experience in gold, going into the dirt, and now that's going to be a response kill from OU.
Yeah, that was really, really lovely, because at the end of the day, it was only Bello that lost the summoner spells, that it was the Flash and the Ignite, and having the Hextech Flash, you're gonna be good to go. And your support, right, is not that important, not that like dangerous for the other team. But if you are a Blitzcrank as it happened, it's gonna be good.
He can win this as long as he keeps fighting the Vitals without access to the Demonic Embrace. It does, or sorry, not the Demonic Embrace, but the World Ender. It makes it actually a lot harder for the Aatrox to try and sustain against the Fiora in these matchups. Obviously, has a Serrated Dirk, but it's not like having a Vampiric Scepter, so has to be careful in this one, though. But flawlessly waiting in the wings. Doesn't have access to level 6, though. Quick Slice can do something. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, though, Bello's going to re-gank Endless Salvation. He has no Flash. He has no way to get out of this one. This should just be another kill going down. He's trying to run towards the turret, but a couple auto attacks will do it. One more knockup. The kill goes over to the Silas, and yeah, this mid lane starting to get out of control. Flawlessly. Level 6, WZek. He can chase this forward. That's going to be the Ghost prop there. Wants to try and get away. Not World Ender, but collateral damage is available. Lonely After Snow going to jump over the wall. WZek, he's feeling pretty good about this one. Fallacy again doesn't have access to level 6, so this is so dangerous for them to continue to fight this. Oh, but the ult goes wide. It goes straight into the turret, but now Hyphen and A, he's here. Quick Slice doesn't want to take too many turret shots. That's going to be the World Ender popped, and he's going to get sent into the end of the world. Goes back to the Death Chamber. It's 3 kills. OU, they are feeling unstoppable. Self-Chan and Flawlessly is stuck underneath the turret.
Yes, and oh my god, it feels like, so close. Nice dodge, and they're going to be targeted by the turret. Not enough damage. Both of them live. Woo. Wow, Oakland University really going for every fight. And they're doing them so well. So well. Using the resources on those summoner spells, getting good rotations, and it's granting them a lot. And it's funny to see, because I was having a look at the gold lead, and it's not even that much. But if you think about the presence or how it feels, the aggressiveness coming from Oakland University, it's a lot, and it must be destabilizing them a little bit.
Oh, Bello. He's waiting for him to face check it. Doesn't this actually know? He got close, but never actually checked it. Oh, he's going to flash forward now. It was the Hex Flash. They should know that he's there. That's going to be the stun field going down, but he won't be able to do much more than that. That's the ultimate committed from Bello. That's going to be the Asher on top of that, but it will only buy a little bit of time. That was 2 ultimates committed just to try and save the victor, but he was absolutely set to go to the Death Chamber. He is going to drop for the 3rd time in this game, and they're just bullying this victor at this point.
Yes, they are, and if you are Victor, you really need to put some wards down. I think maybe WZek took one away there. I didn't notice. They had a sweep going on. I don't know if there was any wards from the blue side around the mid lane, But if you see that, it's only red wards, and that's going to really make you feel vulnerable. And that's basically what happened. Once again, it's the roaming Bellow, it's Blitzcrank coming for you. They don't even need to try and snipe with the hook. They can just wait for you to face check or just use the Hex Stack Flash, and it's going to be good to go. So, Endless Salvation has to be a little more careful in their positioning, and definitely spend some of that money, even though it's not that much, on some wards.
Oh, Bella pops the ult there. White Paper going to drop a little bit low. Doesn't have access to the ultimate there, so all that damage is going to stick a little bit more. But absolutely, exactly what you're talking about. Just Wzek again, just being a force of nature in this game. And that's going to be the knock-up and the hook on top of Kid Pete. Can he get away from this? Cheese Jazz is just putting the damage. Meanwhile, the jungler, Hyphen and A, he's going to be here in time for this one. They'll flash out Asher on to Bello, but he's going to manage to survive for now. Hyphen, he manages to miss that, but it's not going to matter. He's going to land the Q, and now he has access to the ultimate. Doesn't even need it. Ezreal picks up the Lulu. Flawless is here. Yes, you got the dragon, but you dropped a couple of kills. Can they do something? Endlessly Salvation is here. Hyphen and A wants to try and get away. He has access to the Lulu ultimate. He can't take this fight. That's the hook forward, and now Bello's going to be able to help help Cheese Chaz knock it down. And now Hyphen and A, he's trying to run for his life. That's going to be the Chaos Storm thrown down on top of him. He needs to dodge, dive, and duck away from the victor. He's going to be able to do so. Wants to try and jump forward. He's going to land the chains, and he's going to get another kill onto that score line, 3-0 and 4. Hyphen and A is unstoppable right now. And Wzek, though, finds himself on the wrong side of this with collateral damage. Can he get away? One more auto attack doesn't. Can he manage to fight it? No! No, Lonely After So says you may be winning on that side of the map, but this side is mine. He knocks down the Graves, and he's going to be able to answer one kill for at least two. But that is a consolation prize if ever I've seen one.
Yeah, I definitely agree that Horizon, but it must feel good at least for LIU to get that kill on Lonely After Snow. They are subbing on this match, so it's good to see that at least the one player that they made a change in their roster there is the one that is positive. But unfortunately, look at that once again.
He just doesn't miss these. He doesn't.
No, he
Endlessly
doesn't.
didn't even flash. That was the right call. You
No.
know that you're about to get hooked. If you don't sidestep, it's not worth to commit the flash. And yeah, we talked about bullying. This is just a masterclass in roaming with this Blitzcrank and making its presence felt to the absolute extreme right now. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Bello is a menace right now on this rift, and really LIU have not shown any answer for it.
And that's one of the things we mentioned earlier, right? Being in the preseason, this patch going up, 1v1 once again, they would decide to go here. Bello might be in a good position to get the Lulu. They don't have vision though. Might have vision now, and they do!
Oh, they're going to catch him just underneath the tower. That's going to be ultimate committed. Asher to buy a little bit of space. That's the Ezreal ult committed as well. Bello just going to be able to walk this one out, though. 2 ultimates down here for this bot side for not a whole lot committed for OU. And they're just continuing to punish into this 2v2 right now. Self-Chan, they're just unstoppable.
They are. They really feel like so. And I think I lost my train of thought there, but it's turned into a 3v2, going in flawlessly on Bello, but the hype NAs around the corner as well.
Oh, this is a split fight right now. Bello committed the ultimate just to get the Solace onto Flawlessly. Now they're going to be able to pick up one more. Cool Kid going to get killed underneath the tower. OU, they are running away with this game as it was in the first, so it shall be in the second. Endless Salvation now probably on the wrong side of this one. He's going to commit the Chaos Storm. Momentary stun from Wzek, but he has access to the end of the line if he wants to. One more auto is enough to do it. They're not even going to trade one for one. They're going to get this tower, and they are trading nothing across the rift.
Feels good to be Oakland University on this one again. Oh, I hope they can get... Oh, don't. Okay, the minions stopped, but I'm not sure how I feel about this Herald.
This Herald placement. Well, I think I think they just want to make sure they secure the bot tower. Plates were expiring, so you couldn't go anywhere else with it, and he wanted to make sure that they get something out of it. So at least the money's going into the Ezreal pocket, but I agree, you probably would have wanted to use that a lot earlier if you're OU, but you make the most of the situation that you've got.
Yeah, definitely, and especially Wzek, since they were on the top lane earlier trying to solo queue Lonely After Snow, getting solo killed instead. You're gonna probably start getting the Expire note on the Herald, and you need to drop it somewhere. So I might as well get it here. As you mentioned, the platings were already expiring. Cheesy Chaz had gotten most of them anyway, so just guarantee the first brick. Wait, was it first brick? Is there a brick in the... in the mid lane.
I guess you could say it's first brick. Well, I guess you could kind of play it as a brick. Oh, Bello. He's going to get spotted on this ward. Could potentially get caught here. That's going to be the knock-up and flash over the wall just to make sure. And he's going to hook the jungler for good measure. The silence coming down is nearsighted right now. What else can they do? Ultimate committed there from Ashe, but it's not long range. But they're going to be able to slay WZek in the end. They had the man advantage, so that means that they were able to get the damage down. But that was a much of ults committed just to make sure that they secure that kill. And Hyphen A is going to steal away the Lulu ulti and ultimately not do anything with it right now. And honestly, not as big a punish as it could have been from LIU.
Yes, agreed. And I think it's because Bello recognized that they were going to die anyway, so they just disengaged themselves. So it's, once again, it's good communication from OU or Hy-Vee trying to be sneaky. They have the warding and the vision themselves, so that's going to be good. And we can see how much all of that is translating, and it has been translating for OU since the beginning of the game in regards to vision. They have all control on the bottom jungle on the blue side of the map. They have had all of that in the river, so they're just expanding their presence. And now with the second Drake spawning, Mountain Drake, they're gonna go around there. It's probably going to be uncontested. Belveth is on the other side.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's much right now because there aren't many objectives that can be contested that LIU can do.
Yeah. And let's look at this bigger picture, too, when we're talking about objectives right now, because LIU, there's a lot of things on the map that they can take, but they don't have a way to do it. They have no safety in the top, mid, or bot. They have 2 turrets that are already down. The dragon stacking has effectively been stopped now after that response. Bello, not willing to let Flawless get away from this one, is just harassing them, has WZek waiting in the wings. So they can just continue to make sure that Flawless doesn't get anything done. And right now for OU, they have complete control of the map. They may even be able to get Lonely after Shadow here. He's going to pop the World Ender just to try and get away. Bello wants to land the hook. He's going to be able to do so. Catches it just right. Wow. And that's going to be further damage onto him. Make sure that they send him straight to the Death Realm. And now there's nothing else that LIU can do except watch the top laner die. And, yeah, I mean, OU right now, they just have complete control of the map. There's really nothing that LIU can do right now. I mean, they don't have any safety. They can't rotate anywhere. They can't really contest for any objectives right now. The Herald's going to be spawning, but they really aren't going to be able to make a play for it right now because in the bot side, Hyphen A is still pushing there, and they have no way to answer him unless they commit multiple members.
Yes, and Horizon, I think... Oh, no! It's just going to be so hard because Bello is hitting everything every single time. Oh, yeah, it's coming in to help.
CC committed right now. White Paper's helping them last for so long. That's going to be the True Shot Barrage committed, but they slayed WZek Bello. If they can knock down the support, then they can make sure they can turn right on top of Cheese Chaz, but he's going to land the hook. Ezreal letting damage over the wall. He gets the shutdown onto the Blitzcrank, but now it's going to be the response from the Ezreal. What else can they do? Do they have the damage? Lonely after Shadow wants to try and chase them off. Good response kills from LIU. They have somehow wrestled control of this objective away from OU, and now they should be able to take this.
Yeah, and objective boundaries have dropped as well, so LIU has a possible chance now. Oh no, mana on this Victor. 1 laser is the only thing they can do right now, aside from coming back to base. But definitely, now is the moment that LIU can start to think about coming back online. They aren't that far behind as they were in the previous game, but about half. 7k in the difference there. Oh, Lonely after Snow though.
Flash committed. Oh, he outplayed
what a parry!
The perfect parry with it. The tower damage. The teleport not even needed from Hyphen NA. That was an outplay from Quick Slice. Made sure that Aatrox could not do anything in that one. And it looks so good. The trading from Lonely After Snow was so clean in making sure they land the autos. And now we praised LIU for being able to wrestle control of this objective. And now the top laner dies and it's going straight towards OU.
Yeah, that's super unfortunate for them because exactly as you said, if they losing that
Bello.
Bello,
he's so obnoxious. He lands another hook. This man just can't miss. White Paper throws down the ult just to make sure that the Belfeth doesn't die, but it's just a safety measure. There's nothing they can do right now. OU, they're just so obnoxious on this rid. Bello, it just feels like he can't miss on this Blitzcrank.
Hey, yeah, right. Absolutely scripting as they were with the Nami before in the previous game. Like, you could see how much the pressure of the Nami, not exactly the pressure, but the presence of the Nami all throughout the map. We saw at one point it was 12 kills for Oakland University, and Nami had a 10 kill participation. That is absolutely insane, and it was so early into the game as well. I think we were around like 12 or maybe 15 minutes. So it's a lot that OU has been able to do in such a short amount of time, and once again, Bello is converting all of that into so much for the ADC, for the mid lane. And as we saw how many times poor Victor was engaged upon coming from this support, it's gonna feel bad for LAU because Victor is supposed to be the main damage dealer, and they are 0-6. So far behind, have just one item. They probably just finished the Leandries now, so it's going to be hard for them to deal that damage.
And speaking of items, look at what Hyphen A has felt confident enough to buy. He has a 10-stack Magi already in this game at 20 minutes. I mean, he's feeling really, really good. 6-0-4, has participated in 10 of these kills. You talked about Bello, again, converting on this Blitzcrank, 12-kill participation already. And right now, OU, while they don't have the same kind of gold lead that they had in the last game, obviously we're going to have a much more extended game this time than we did last time. Their positioning on the map is really, really good. As they're going to hook the Aatrox over the wall. He's not going to be able to do anything. So it was actually the Belveth. They're going to drop. The Herald's going to be popped in that mid lane. Yes, you get a top turret, but what are you going to lose for it? You're going to lose a significant amount of your base because now Lonely After Snow, he's trying to run away. Blitzcrank flash forward. It's the knockup. It's the kill. Two dead for the side of LIU. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, while WZek is going to die, it's going to be the Herald charge in the mid lane. It's a 1-for-2 trade in the end. And OU, they are putting damage into these structures, and that is going to be the base effectively cracked there for LIU. They're going to look to turn to the Baron. Can they do this objective? The respawn timers on After Snow were so long.
Yeah, and to be fair, they're doing quite a bit of damage right now. Ludo is trying to get around to get some vision. I don't know if they can do much. Ash is going to throw the Huck shot. It's in. They have the vision. It's going to expire pretty soon. It's just two players. I don't know if she can do anything with that W. Yes, they cannot. Don't you see Baron on one house for a second?
Yes. Yeah, that's the ookie spooky moment when you're like you want to make sure you have vision on everybody, but obviously no jungler contest from flawlessly means that they're just going to knock that one down. Even though there was no WZek to help them with that, it didn't matter in the end. They get the Baron. They're going to have an all 5 members. Now, this should just be the Dragon Rush here from LIU, but can they actually get out to it fast enough? Because OU were resetting really, really quickly on this map.
Yes, they are. The buff is going to grant you to do so. And they not only have that, they already had so much pressure on pushing those lanes. And with the buff now, they're just going to be able to get so much siege and controlling the area right now with the Cloud Drake. You're going to have those areas of move speed into the map. And unfortunately for LIU, it's just OU taking advantage of them as they go into your jungle, get the deep wardings. Bello is there. Endless ovation. I hope you're not going to get hooked again.
Yeah, Bello right now just trying to make sure that, I think honestly in this specific instance, you actually want people to see you as Quickslice trying to outplay this 1v2. Should be able to do it. Smite's going to come down. Doesn't have a turret to retreat to though. Should just fall here. Trying to run and put a little bit of distance, but that's going to be the flash committed from Flawless. You did want to have to do it, but they wanted to make sure that they knocked down the Fiora. Meanwhile, though, on the bot side, the siege continues. OU, they are making the most of it. Wherever they trade, wherever they lose in one side of the map, they trade for another. That's going to be the Ezreal ulti committed there to try and stop some of the backs. Does it tack onto anybody? Doesn't hit onto the jungler, so they managed to complete the reset, but that's not going to matter right now, though, because the inhibitor is going to fall. Aatrox is going to be late on this one. Potential teleport flank, though, as it's going to be Ash Arrow going down to Flawlessly. That's one down. They need to get more, and now Lonely After Snow is here. Hyphen A, he goes into the gold stasis. What else can they do? Cheese Chaz putting the damage in the back line, but it is so far a 1-4-3 because the Fiora is dead, and now they're just trying to run for the hills. Cheese Chaz! Can he manage to get us away as he's going to see the Blitzcrank fall? All of his friends are dead. He's just trying to buy some time, and that's going to be... Is that the Victor going to the gold status? No, this is going to be the shutdown given over to Flawlessly. That is a full team wipe there from OU. Yes, they crack the base and they get an inhibitor, but they sacrifice 5 champions to do so.
Yeah, they sacrificed 5 champions and 5 Baron buffs as well. So great job, LAU, especially Lonely After Snow, communicating with the team that they were going to get that flank going. It was super well executed, caught them out of guard. Cool Kid Pete also with a lovely crystal arrow managed to hit WZac, one of the players that we know is going to start outscaling a little bit in this stage of the game. They've had that moment. Right now, the ones that are going to be the most powerful are definitely going to be Hyphen and the Ezreal, unfortunately. For both of them, it's their first death of the game. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
On 24 minutes?
Yeah, that's a long time to go, as both those champions especially, too, did not die before that point. So I think impressive, and I think it says a lot about how those two players have been playing. Now, so far, hold on. May not get a chance to make this point, as it's going to be 2-on-1. Sorry, 3-on-1. How can I forget Bello, who wants to try and land this hook? He doesn't have any vision, though, so won't be able to do so. But the point that I wanted to make was LIU, they've, over the last couple minutes, have been finding ways to fire back. Is Bello going to land that hook over the wall? Managed to spot him out of the ward. Silence makes sure he can't. Gets away. WZ claims that one. The 20th kill of the game, and it goes towards the jungler. And even as I was about to praise LIU for their ability to fight back in the last couple minutes, finding plays, let's pretend that one didn't affect too much right now, because obviously it is only the one kill. And let's just continue on with the questions. So obviously OU, they've been in the majority of the control of this game, but LIU have found ways to get back in. So what do they need to do to make sure they continue to try and fight back in this game? Is Lonely After Snow? Land hyphen will manage to walk away. No, actually manages to pick up the kill. That last turret shot was enough to do it. Bello gonna miss the hook. Hopefully they calm down here for a minute. Yes, they are going to walk away. So what does LIU need to do to continue to try and climb back in this game?
I think it's to keep on doing what they're doing right now. So first off, keep yourselves in a good protected position under a turret. Stay in a safe space. Stay close to your base. Oh, that was a lovely poetry there. Second thing, try to very carefully clean the vision that OU has in your jungle, because that's basically everything that Bello needs to land those hooks. To be fair, a couple of them were no scope, so you just gotta be careful when you try to.
But was it 360?
Sweep. It wasn't 360, but it was a no scope. But yeah, basically you have to be careful, but you have to try to take those wards out of your jungle. Look at how many of them they've got, and they're so deep into their space. It's gonna be so hard for Bello to miss something, because they can actively see what's happening when LIU doesn't. Look at that. So they have to try to, well, they have an Ashe, right? They can throw the hawk before they try to clean the wards, so they start reconquering a little bit of that jungle, so they can rotate for the deny on the Nexo point on the Drake. They can try to rotate for 30 seconds from now the next Baron. So it's gotta be one thing at a time. They can't go in as if they had any sort of advantage, because they are very far behind, and they are going to, as soon as they get some pressure, try to take those objective bounties and then start getting back around.
Yep. And observers, if you could highlight actually the vision control right now that OU has, because this is going to be the defining point, I think, in this final, what could potentially be the final match, is the fact that LIU, they have to pick between which objectives they want to start, because they have almost no vision anywhere in this matchup right now. And OU, they have control over the mid lane, so they can go to Dragon or to Baron. And I think Baron is probably the right call here. You can afford to give up a Dragon. It would only be a 2-for-2, but I think they want to find the fight here before that, just to make sure that they don't have to choose one or the other. Aatrox sitting in base, so they know that he's clearing out those wards in that bot side. Again, no vision on either of these objectives. And that Ezreal ult is going to spawn out multiple members, so they know where they're standing. OU, as long as they stay in this death ball, it is really, really difficult for LIU to pick anybody off. And OU, they're just so worried about where they want to step right now. But OU, they're going to start off the Baron.
Yes, they are, and they're melting it pretty quickly. LIU trying to get around,
Bello?
but the Bello is there.
He's going to dash forward. He's going to speed his way on. He's going to manage to hook one. What else can they do with it, though? That's going to be the stasis for endlessly. He's trying to buy a little bit of time flawlessly into the back line. He wants to try and get something done, but he has to get the Lulu ulti and get the hell out of dodge. OU, they've got the damage so far, but Aatrox! Oh, he's letting the Qs with the health bar so low. Nobody dies just yet. WZEC falls, though. But it's a 1-4-1 trade, and the jungler is down, and that means that nobody will be taking any objectives right now. It should just be the reset. LIU, though, on the wrong side of this map, though. Bello and Cheese Chaz, they want to try and find someone. White Paper's going to be forced off. They just want to get some of these resets. Bello, they want to chase out Cheese Chaz. If they can just deny this a little bit further, Fior's going to continue to push in that mid lane. They can go over to Dragon whenever they want to. This is going to be the teleport committed. Now Bello has to get over. He has access to the blast cone. Cheese Chaz should be fine. It's going to be another hook, though. Knock up as well. The Cool Kid has to walk on out of there. Only has a sliver of health. And OU, after a really long extended team fight, they've got pressure in the mid lane. They're going to knock down at least one inhib. They could look to go to the Baron, look to go to the Dragon. They have succeeded in the really, really long team fight.
Oh my god, to be fair, I was rooting for LIU so much on that one. I thought it was such a clever positioning from them. I thought it was super great, the TP as well. But I wasn't looking at the base, and maybe the teammates weren't looking at that base either. For inhibitor there going down so quickly to Quick Slice. And that is going to guarantee any day the pressure to allow for a good Baron. Once again, I was looking forward because when that fight started and it was just a 1-for-1 scenario, I was so glad for LIU because it's from that point on that you can start reconquering the jungle. As I mentioned, all 3v2 quick slice, WZAC. They might be in a bad spot to try and steal this one. Yeah, WZAC just decides to concede it, and I think that's the best call. But great positioning from LIU to prioritize this one, get the objective bounty. That's going to be super, super important for them. Oh no, Valor!
Thank goodness there's no follow-up order. Actually, is there? WZEC going to try and knock that one. Ezreal knocks him down to a quarter. Collateral damage not going to kill him either. The ultimate committed there just to make sure he survives, and now they will just run away. But that was a bunch committed just to survive there. And now OU, they're going to be pushing in 3 lanes. They have someone pushing in top, mid, and bottom. Fiora will for sure be able to get this inhibitor. And OU, they want to rotate and knock down this Aatrox if they can. Bello, if he lands another one of these patented hooks over the wall, could spell disaster. And meanwhile, while they're dealing with that quick slice, again, just knocking down this inhibitor. So OU, they're a nuisance. Everywhere they go, they're getting something positive going into their pockets right now. And now this is a stacked wave in the top lane. And Zofchan, this might just be the final push for them.
Yeah, it might be. They have the Baron buff. They have the Fiora split pushing down there. Oh no, the Nexus turret absolutely non-existent now. The rest of the team taking
He's
out
even
the other
gonna
inhibitors.
live.
Yeah, here he is. Here he is. And with that, we are getting closer and closer to a sweep for OU. We'll see if that's going to solidify itself. Damage being so consistent on this turret here, but not so much.
LIU, this is the final throw of the dice. They need to win this one. Aatrox is the first to fall, though, and now flawlessly has to beat a hasty retreat. They want to get to the fountain just to try and survive a little bit more, but the victor can do nothing but just buy space. OU, they will not be stopped. They will not be denied, and in week 8, they're going to best LIU and even up the standings.
Oh, that was absolutely relentless from OU. Really, I thought there was a moment that LIU could come back on that one. I was rooting for a game 3. I was rooting for them because they were doing great, right? They were being patient and kind of doing the things that I was suggesting. But OU didn't leave any space for them to come back, and their decision to put Fiora in the split push. It's always a good, reliable, solid, and simple decision to make, and it worked out so well.
Yeah.
And especially Bello on those hooks. Like anyone on the side of LAU wouldn't feel safe anywhere because Bello was always there, even if there was vision, if there wasn't no vision. So they were really essential to making those plays happen. So great for OU. And you were so happy to see that blitzcrank, so it must have been amazing to see that succeed so well.
Yeah, I loved what Bello was able to do on that blitzcrank. I mean, every time he showed up on the map, you're just sitting there waiting like this. Just, is he going to land that hook? You know, what kind of damage is he going to do? And that blitzcrank was just absolutely a menace in every step of the phase of the game. So I'm glad that they succeeded with that champion. And it was interesting to see that pulled off. And exactly like you highlighted, too, that whole composition from OU, they were able to make it work. Yes, the game went 10 minutes longer than the last one, but ultimately they made that composition work. They played to its strengths. And, you know, a clean sweep here is very, very, you know, interesting to see. Obviously, we would have liked to have seen a game 3 just because, you know, you always want to see that full series. But OU, they put a very, very quick end to the night. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have an interview for you here shortly. So don't go anywhere because when we come back, we'll have one of the players from the victorious OU telling us about that fantastic win coming right up.
When I started, I was often the only woman in the room. There were no women competitions. There were no other women on co-ed teams or women's teams. And that obviously has changed drastically over the most recent couple of years. Initiatives like this are so meaningful to getting more women involved and giving them a stepping stone to join those tier 1 leagues, to join co-ed teams, mixed teams, and hopefully become the best in the world. So I came to join today to just tell you a little bit about my journey, hopefully inspire you, whether you want to go down the path of being a professional gamer or a content creator, or you want to work in the industry. There's so many different options, and I wanted to share a little bit about my story with you. So first off, I'm actually at Valorant champions in Istanbul right now. The match is happening like just behind the door from me, so you might even hear some of the crowd noise going hype. The crowd is obviously cheering for Fnatic. Actually, I just heard a loud cheer right now, so something epic might have just happened. But so apologies if you hear that background noise, but it's all part of the vibe. It's all part of just being in esports, living and breathing esports. My journey actually started just as a player. I was a multi-sport varsity athlete in high school. Tore my MCL, was out on an injury, and then I found esports. My brother would have his friends over, and I didn't want my brother to be better than me at anything, and I just started playing. And this was actually Counter-Strike. Valorant wasn't out at the time, of course. And turns out that I was pretty decent at it, and so started playing more and more and more. Found some teammates, traveled down to the CPL, which is like the top tournament at the time. Thought after winning a bunch of tournaments in the Milwaukee area that we would come in and do really well. Turns out we were terrible, and we finished dead last. Lost to a Finnish team that was one of the best in the world. But it only motivated me to be a better player. So I kept competing. Eventually, I made it on to some of the top teams. Both I was in co-ed teams, played in ESEA Invite, which is now the equivalent of ESL Pro League, and also played on some co-ed teams. Played with teammates like Miss Harvey, Potter, who is now the coach of Evil Geniuses, Alice Liu, that played with Complexity's Valorant team. Some of the things that I learned in my competing journey, it's not just about my physical skill about in the game, not just how quick you could react to something, but communication, teamwork. These things are so important. At Valorant Champions right now, I get the opportunity to listen into the teams and listen to their communication. It's amazing how they refine their craft and refine how they communicate with their teammates. It's something so fascinating. So I encourage you, one of the things I like to tell up and coming players is record your team's comms and listen back. Did you give the right calls? Could you have done better calls? Those calls have been shorter and more precise? Those are some of the things I learned as a player. Throughout that playing journey, one of the highlights was in 2012 when I traveled to Paris and competed in the Esports World Cup, which was the top tournament for women at the time. And we came in and we won the World Championship, which was so exciting. It's so amazing to play in front of crowds of thousands of people. They were cheering against us because we were playing against a European team and we were an American team. But that feeling is just like unlike anything else when you can raise that trophy and they play the national anthem of your country. I hope many of you playing in this competition will get to experience some of that one day. It's truly an honor. Some of the other things besides competing and winning trophies, I played in 250 tournaments over the years. I believe that's the most for any woman. It's hard to keep track in the early days, but beyond competing, I work in the industry. So I'm the vice president at Dignitas. It's one of the oldest operating esports teams. We had for many years one of the top women's teams in the world. I also founded a women's initiative called Radiant and operate women's esports tournaments just like this. And I've realized how important that is. A lot of people will ask, why do the women need their own tournament? Why can't they just play with the guys? And my response back is, if you look at a game like Valorant, there's a reason why there are so many women competing in this game compared to other esports titles. It's because these women's initiatives exist, and they give women something to work towards, something to get started. It gives them a more safe environment, a harassment-free environment to kick off their careers. And I hope one day we don't need women's tournaments. That's the end goal, is because more women are competing and more women are going to start to shine in those tier 1 teams. My last point is, as I said, working in the industry, there's so many different job opportunities. You don't have to be the best player in the world. You don't have to be comfortable on camera and be a content creator. You can work in business side, marketing, advertising. You can work in PR. You can work even in the sciences. There's sports psychology jobs. There's team chefs. There's nutritionists. One of my positions is being an observer. Like I said, I'm at Valorant Champions right now. And, if you're dual monitoring and you're watching both this event and Valorant Champions at the same time, after this, I'm about to hop in and be the observer for Xset versus Fnatic, essentially an in-game director. There's a million different production jobs as well. But I just wanted to use this as an opportunity to hopefully inspire you to continue to pursue esports and gaming if that's something you love. And then my final comment is just a reminder that you're going to be in games sometimes and people are going to say terrible things. I hope that ends someday, but just know that no matter what they say, you belong here. You deserve this. You deserve to play this game. You deserve to be in this competition. And I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait. I know there's going to be some superstars. I hope I see you one day at Valorant Champions kicking ass. Thank you so much for having me.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big.
Hey guys, K-Tad here, and as spring break is upon us, we too need a break every once in a while, but with that said, we've still got some great collegiate esports action for you, and playoffs is around the corner, so that these teams are doing everything they can to make the cut. Let's get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the post-game lobby. I'm still Horizon, that is still Sofchan, and we are joined by the one and the only OU support, Bello. Bello, how are you feeling, man? How does it feel to know that the standings have been tied up and you have the head-to-head over LIU in a potential playoffs scenario?
I think it's good. I think this fall is like a practice run for the team. I'm the only returning player for this team, and we're going through a lot of cycles for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not really too concerned with how we end up this fall. We're more concerned are we getting a linear form of progression each week.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's really lovely. And considering that as you mentioned, you are the one returning player, how did it feel this time in the fall and this day, of course, in the broadcast, the game we casted of you guys? How did it feel to be working with these new players? How is the dynamic? Because it felt like you guys were communicating super well.
Yeah, it feels, especially for me, it feels weird because, especially the last couple years being on different teams, I've always been it's either everybody's forming a new team, or I've always been kind of the last one joining. Last semester, last year, everybody on OU was had been together for a year and a half besides me. So it felt easy just being the new player and then putting my input. But now, since I'm the captain and I'm in a leadership position, there's a lot more expected of me, and it's a nice opportunity for growth for myself, and it feels good to try to take that step up and become a leadership position.
So I guess I would follow on that. So you talked about taking a leadership position within this team. So you mentioned that you're the captain. One of the things I want to ask you about this Blitzcrank pick, obviously we saw a pretty good Lulu game, or sorry, not Lulu game, Nami game in the first one where you had that pretty stereotypical Lulu Nami matchup where you're able to kind of easily win the 1v1 or the 2v2s that. But then the Blitzcrank game, I think, was a kind of a departure to maybe what we might have expected in the second game. So you talked about shot calling. What were the comms and what was the decision making process in going for the Blitzcrank in that second game?
So the main thing for Blitzcrank here was that it's really good into every one of the. Well, for one thing, we thought that that my R would cancel Belveth's like damage reduction thing. I thought that was a channel, but then we found out in game that it actually doesn't cancel it. So that was one of the main things, was we thought it would cancel it, and then plus Blitzcrank is also just really good into every one of their champions. The second factor was that we have a really aggressive mid laner, Silas, and me picking Blitzcrank into Victor is like very hard for Victor to play the game. And then bot lane, we can win. It's more just like if their bot lane makes like a ton of mistakes, then we can kill a lot. But they were playing in wave, like first 3 levels, which made it hard to like look for options. So I just accepted like, okay, they're not being greedy, so I'll just play for our strong suits, which was mainly mid, for at least my job. The comms were, we basically established like in game, like who we're playing for, what our like primary and secondary opportunity of goals are. And so that's where we basically topped out. Like first I'll see if I can kill their bot lane. And then if they're not playing, or if they are playing in wave, then I'll just ditch lane and then play for mid lane.
Yeah, and that worked out so well. When we were casting, it was every time we blinked, you were there, and it was such a nightmare for Victor. But I wanted to ask you about the performance in general of your team, like the strategy. You guys seemed pretty aggressive. Was it something that you noticed about the enemy team? Like before, have you scouted them? How were the plays, the games you have played against them in the past, and if that influenced the way you decided to be aggressive on him?
I don't remember if we have played against them before. We don't do an insane amount of scouting because, like I said earlier, our largest concern is how we're playing right now. And so that's pretty much where all our thought process is, because we don't really after draft is done, then we'll think about like what they want to do, and then we'll calm stuff in game. But we don't think about how a team is going to play and then try to like draft comps around that yet. That would probably be for like spring season, when we're like try harding and we're really trying to like win.
Gotcha. Well, Bello, thank you so much for the interview. We really, really appreciate the time you took out to answer our questions. And for ladies and gentlemen, that is actually going to do it for us here on the broadcast. So on behalf of everybody here at Esports U, we want to thank you all so much for tuning in for tonight's game between Oakland University and Long Island University. So until next time, until we and Soph hopefully see you guys again, buy wards, drink potions, don't leave base without a buddy, and more importantly, be good to each other. On behalf of everyone else here on the broadcast crew, thank you and good night.
Tip is going to take place. Passes are with the back.
At number 7, Floppy's got a show to put on for us as he juggles Sen around the stage.
Off stage, how will they make it back on? Just immediately opting to go for the ledge, eating an up hit, and Telly not going to be dying quite yet. He is quite a hefty boy, but what a follow-up.
Yeah, ping pong with his...
It's overtime out the gate for our number 6 clip, and eBest Drew hangs it us a little to the left to clutch it up for Farmingdale.
Gets it over one, has Indemnity to work through now to flick over him. Chance, oh, it's top of the box for MC Drew. That's a goal, game 1 winner for Farmingdale.
Yeah, that's eBest Drew right here. Fantastic shot reception, or that pass reception, I should say. After Otto puts this across the top right here.
Up next is Curious George with the Cura Ace to clutch up the round for Keen. And yes, the editors came up with the name of this clip, not me.
Behind it, and now you're going to be talking about a bolstered close flank here. It would probably be in the best interest of Keen to go ahead and just save their weapon. Not exactly sure how their guns are looking, how their economy is looking, excuse me. But this just seems so unfavorable for them. They're sort of making it work, mind you. Curious George, he's going ahead and giving it the old college try. He's going to make it an ace, but does he have the time behind the snake bite? He can go ahead and stick on it. And by God, again! Keen just cannot keep getting away with it. They're disjointed, they're scrappy as all hell.
It's Ye Old Faithful in our number 4 spot as Putnut and Kofe toss out a huge Grav Dragons to flip the point and secure a map number 1 for Nickel State.
I think they're going to have to fade out this immortality. First, we're going to see that committed on the back of the Grav, but the Dragon Strike is massive. A 4-shot for Kofe. And with that, the Colonels will take control of the point once again.
Now this might only be our number 3 clip of this week, but you guys have to check out this play from Not Leopard as he pulls off these ridiculous moves to juggle the ball right past the defenders of Central Missouri and into the net.
It's possible, setting up a counter-attack potential, but Fan Shui here and Not Leopard. What? Oh, Not Leopard! They have families! Stop it! They beat all 3 defenders!
I finally figured out why it's not Leopard. It's not Leopard because it's Messi. Messi with the dime, the dish, the left to the...
At number 2, this is probably one of the smartest plays we've seen in a while. Now UNM's Wicked Pro, after finding the spike on A, decides to ult and immediately rotate out after getting the info that the rest of the attackers are mid. What happens next? We'll just watch.
A bit frustrated about that one.
Oh, and this is a great play going around from the smoke from the belt. They have the perfect opportunity. And once that falls, everyone will be revealed. They'll be hit with the decay. This could be huge. Yes. Mishiro. Caught on the zip line.
Oh!
Wicked gets 2.
Another 4K for Wicked, who is playing out of their mind. The 500 IQ play. You knew that it was a weird angle to have that Viper spit. You knew that they were going to check everywhere inside. And
Alright, number 1, let me break this down for you. Series 3, last man standing. The anchor in Atata as he somehow manages to bring Illinois Wesleyan back from being in a 1v3 for this series.
Big lead here for Wayne State, but we'll see. You know, Atata's not out of the count just yet, and they might be looking, I mean, they're definitely looking to take away with the restock, but they can't play too risky. Okay, we see the PK flash there. They're going to make it back to ledge. We also saw a pretty Hail Mary forward smash there at low percent at that. The risk reward on that is a little skewed. Ooh, look at this jab reset into the forward smash. What a beautiful combo.
They just feel confident in their team, and there's nothing more that I love with that. But the mess is already trying to make a statement saying that you should have brought the person who could take the stocks first.
That is amazing right there. We saw the PK fire, multi-hits goes for the downer. There's an off-stage air dodge. Suddenly, this is looking very bad for Younglink and potentially Wayne State as a whole.
Side, don't let them grab you. You still got to be careful. Ness is a threat no matter where they are on the stage.
Nice rising fair to kind of even that out. Good blade beam to catch the PK fire. Maybe the PK fire is in reaction. There's a climb hazard. This is Ness's